Ever been watching the ALGS or your favorite Apex Legends streamer and heard them saying things like,
Hacked one, gatekeep this team, that's gonna be Pierre the Rat.
and wonder, what are they talking about? We wanted to take a moment to shine a light on some of the most common terms you might be hearing and wondering about as the newest season of the ALGS kicks off.
This is gonna be fun, brother.
Crack, no. He's cracked. Cracked!
Cracked, or flesh, is something you'll often hear when a player informs his teammates that he has eliminated the armor of an enemy and they are now vulnerable.
Wraith is cracked, man.
In the game, this is accompanied by a satisfying sound.
Crack här inne.
I kidnap two.
He's again, and he gets another kidnap!
Kidnap is a sneaky tactical maneuver in which a Wraith player will use their ultimate to make a dimensional tunnel to an enemy team's location with the goal of having an enemy accidentally get sucked into the tunnel and be whisked away to their deaths at the other end.
This third party central.
We're gonna have to third them.
Here comes the third party!
Third partying in Apex Legends is a situation where two squads are fighting each other and another squad decides to join in, usually waiting until one team has been eliminated. As you can imagine, this is about as welcome as someone cutting in on your dance or showing up when your party is over. But for the team doing the third partying, it could be a blast.
Let's go, man!
This has been some perfect gatekeeping.
Great job gatekeeping this squad. TSM are one of those teams gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping is a tactic in Apex Legends where teams take strategic advantage of choke points on the maps, choosing passages where teams will most likely need to go to escape the encroaching ring or other pursuers. Teams will often set traps or barriers as they lay in wait, spider-like, for their prey.
So this is actually a great rat spot. High tier ratting right now.
Devious rat strat.
Rat, also known as rat strats, are when a player is the last living member of the team and chooses to strategically hide with the intention to gain them placement points. The goal is simply to outlive and outlast opponents, whether it is by shadowing a more aggressive team, finding a corner, or a bush to hide in, or just finding a place that's difficult to assault. Ratting can even sometimes result in a surprising solo win. While this barely scratches the surface of all the insider language players and casters use in-game, we hope this short list of player slang will help you follow all of the upcoming action with your favorite streamers and in the Apex Legends Global Series. And remember,
The game is not merciful to those who lack imagination.
where we dropping, y'all. I say we hot drop into Fragment because damn, do we have some hot matches for you today? Yes, ALGS is back, and welcome to ALGS Year 2 and Day 2 of EMEA Pro League. I'm Stella Chung, or Parallax Stella, and I'll be your host for today. I am joined by the handsome Caster Pros, Pyrotechnic, and T-Squared, and in the back of our dropship, we have James Bardolph and Vicky Kitty. Welcome, welcome, y'all. How are you doing?
Oh, it's so good to be here, Stella. Thank you for the welcome, the kind words as well. Mr. T-Squared, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited for Apex right now. I can't wait to get the EMEA region underway. I'm excited to be joined on the dropship by you two. Would you please carry me? Stella, drop a 20 bomb for us.
You got it. I got my muscles already. I hit my mic. I'm so sorry. I'm just so excited. Listen, Apex always gets me hyped, especially that intro video. Whew. Oh, man.
Always.
So now that we're in the Pro League Split 1, we got to see the first groups B versus C from the 20 directly invited teams and 20 teams from the preseason qualifiers go up against each other yesterday. And today we'll see groups A and D, absolute powerhouses. But just in case you missed it, let's take a quick recap from EMEA Day 1 right now.
The Apex Legends Global
My goodness, we saw some major awareness right there, trying to avoid the trap, but just could not do it. This massive fight right now. Valkyrie takes to the skies to avoid Bangalore.
Get it, one down.
I got shot. I'm gonna shot in the back.
Eternal with the high ground, finds themselves in a great position. Yuki takes out 2. Is it going to be enough? Alliance is cleaning up, but Eternal says otherwise. Yuki last alive. Vive's going to get taken out. All up to Yuki. 1 versus 1. Taking a 1v2. Yuki's going insane. Can he clutch? And no, he's going to get shut down. It's Major Pushers who finishes it out.
Spectator. They're going to be moving in. They're doing some big damage at the moment. So brilliant. Shiv heard me, and Shiv said, excuse me, Mimi, goodbye. That's Top Dogs eliminated.
Nate stack inside, all your nades inside right now, we win.
Kind of going deep into the well here, deep into the playbook to try and survive long enough to maybe get second place, or maybe jump in if damage is done to Kangana here from that skyward dive and take home first place.
After holding for so long, Kangana will take the W here.
Good job, Jay, following up on that call.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Ooh, the no-scope with the Kraber.
He's there. Cracked.
Oh, the guy low,
Nice, good job.
Here comes the push. Solo Hugo is pushing wide left. It's going to be a little over aggressive for Zipeth. He's going to try and actually double back.
Put it back. One's in zone. Wait there.
Easy peasy. Well done from Solo Q Goats. If you're a fan of Shiv, stand up right now.
Nice. We're back.
There's the indication as to where the players are, and you just absolutely shred when you have an L-Star. Invictus slowly work their way into the top 8. Kick, another team who need points here, but are down to just 2. 3 squads left, this is scary.
They managed to find a safe place to play though. The Caustic gave them the cover. Here's the massive fight, and that is a big chunk coming in. Noisy's now with the flatline in hand, and it will be Invictus who managed to close out our final game of the day.
Let's go. Perfectly played, boys. Well done.
Perfectly played, perfectly called, and perfectly executed to close things out.
What an amazing recap video. Like, if you ever want hype, that's the thing to do. Thank you to our crew for that. So as we continue into day 2, let's take a look at these teams that are participating overall. Are there any teams that you're rooting for here, Tom?
I'm rooting for all these teams really because they work so hard to get here. It's going to be exciting to see how everyone performs, but we had to narrow it down just to a couple of them, which we're going to hop down to it a little bit. But you're going to have all of your classic EMEA names here. Again, everybody fought just to get over here, and we have 4 groups. We're going to be watching 20 of those teams play today, and we'll find out who actually is going to go out on top. But you're going to see basically everybody that's anybody inside this region, inside that top area right there. Again, 40 teams overall. Congratulations to anybody that made it, and if you did it, hey, hopefully you make it in next time. But you got to give a lot of credit to Gambit Esports, to Nasky. You have to give credit to Scars, Reply Totem. Pyro, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, those are all great names. I think other ones that are on my mind, Fort Gang is always a perennial favorite for me. These guys definitely sometimes have quiet games, but can turn up the heat when need be. I think, 69 IQ Esports were a favorite of Bardoff. I'm spoiling a little bit there, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform today. And of course, A versus D. I mean, these are 2 stacked groups. Every group is stacked, but just look at some of the names you've got in here. You already mentioned Gambit. You mentioned Navi. The Cité France is going to be in this one. Of course, Scars EU, Reply Totem. I mean, there's just so many squads to keep our eye on today. It's going to be hard, really, to just track 1 or 2 down.
Yeah, absolutely. And after the end of today, it's going to be the first time that we're going to see everyone kind of stacked up against each other in terms of scoring. And let's look at the map schedule. Pyra, do you think this is a really good do you think this is a good variety of maps that we have today?
It's good. Yeah, we got game 1 on World's Edge, we got game 2 on World's Edge. Game 3 is going to be on World's Edge, and then pretty much the rest of the maps are going to be World's Edge. And it's the best map in the game. Why would you go anywhere else? Kings Canyon? Never heard of it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what's that one?
Don't worry, we don't talk about that. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, now that we know which teams will be playing, let's take a look at a very special segment, Lenovo's Teams to Watch. All right, so I know that Tom, you and Pyra had to hash it out and settle on these 3 teams to watch. So Pyra, can you run me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. The first of the teams that are really one to highlight for us is going to be Gambit Esports. This is a squad that, first and foremost, they just have so many accolades, it would be hard to just rattle them all off even. But in Hardeki we trust. This is one of the most skilled players that has come out of the EMEA region, just consistently performing. This is a squad that has a really good potential to just have a good game in any given lobby. It doesn't matter who they're facing off against. Very, very strong team overall. So certainly worthy of our attention.
Yeah, another team they got to look out for is going to be Zeta Division. It's also the former Fire Beavers squad, and I'm really looking forward to one of the most exciting things for me in EMEA region is the variety of compositions and the play styles that we have. You're going to see Loba coming through. You're going to see other teams like Alliance playing on Crypto. You're going to see the typical Valkyrie, Caustic, and Gibby composition as well. But Loba can really just throw a wrench in your plans, and she can also just, basically get your team as many items that you need at the very end of the game. Yes, it's tough to play Loba. You have to, be consistent with Loba. There's not that many players that can go and use these type of compositions, and I'm excited to see what these pros have for us today.
Certainly, but of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the reigning champions of EMEA. It is Scars EU, RPR, Taishin, and Mandy. They had such an incredible performance in that finals last year. Now, they started a little bit slow, but they turned the heat up, ramped up for a big finish. This is a team that can also play really well in either zone or edge. They called their own style passive-aggressive, and I love that. They play passively around zone, and when it starts to narrow in, that's when they turn up the pressure, and they got the win.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to take a look at these teams. Be sure to keep a lookout for these teams, viewers. And you know what? That just about wraps up our segment for Lenovo's Teams to Watch. So, as we can tell, we all have very different team favorites. So I'm curious what y'all's predictions are for these games today. I'm personally rooting for Scars because RPR is my favorite EMEA IGL. He always stays really calm. His critical thinking on the spot is incredible. So, Tom, who would you say that you're going for to be at the top of the leaderboard today?
It's tough. I'm always rooting for Nasky and whatever team he's going to be on, but I had to go with Gambit because of the fact that I'm looking forward to watching them actually perform what I feel like their expectations are and what a lot of EMEA thinks that they're going to be able to do. They've been a team for quite some time now. I really feel like having that type of camaraderie, that chemistry could really play a huge role in this first day today. Well, second day, obviously, but first games for them.
Yeah, okay. That's not a bad choice, but I'm with you, Stella. I think Scars are going to keep this one going, and I'm glad Vicky signed up with us too.
Yes, absolutely. You're outnumbered, Tom. Yet again, I'm going to win this fight, hopefully. Please, Scars, don't let me down. But don't be afraid to tweet at us your own predictions for EMEA Pro League Day 2. I'm going to hand over the reins to Pyra and Tom, and I'm going to go grab some popcorn for these next few matches. So, see y'all soon.
Thank you very much, Stella. All right, Tom, we are getting ready to drop out the ship onto World's Edge. I mean, where are we dropping, right? Like, are we looking Frag East, Frag West? What's your favorite?
Me and you are going to turn off our trails and we're going to drop on a solo player that's going away from their team. Hopefully it's someone that's going to go scan a beacon. We're going to go and punch them out. We don't need any weapons. We're also doing the no shield challenge, so we're not picking up any armors. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely not doing that. I say if we're going to drop anywhere, let's just drop right in the middle like Stella's talking about. Let's go right into Fragment.
I am so excited. Yeah, that has been a very hot spot for a lot of the squads, but here we are loading up Groups A and Groups D. We already saw an action-packed day of games yesterday for the EMEA region. Such a bloodthirsty set of squads. I'm wondering if the teams bringing today will be able to match that one, and there are just so many big names. And let's go ahead and take a look as we get on to World's Edge here. Tom, you mentioned some teams to watch. I think we got enough time for some honorable mentions. Anybody we didn't list that you really want to focus on?
Really, the team that I want to talk about is what Nasky's going to be able to do. Again, Nasky is just one of those players that shows up, and I just feel like their team always plays with a lot of heart. They're always one of the teams that are constantly evolving, and they evolve as the tournament and as the day is going on. So if I had to pick any team, that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. I think that his team also complements him extremely well. But whoever comes out confident, whoever comes out swinging off the gates is going to be, the team to watch out for. I think that getting a hot start is extremely important. Getting your loot and getting your landing spot is extremely important. All these teams are going to be familiar with each other because of the fact that they scrim and just play with each other so often.
You're right. And of course, there are 6 games for them to play today. So even if you don't get what you want in game number 1, as long as you have the strong mental to go for the reset, we will see, as we are watching Zeta Division here dropping on Fragment, the circle's going to pull pretty further south. So that squad over in launch site's going to be happy about that.
And one of the things for Apex, sometimes it happens where you will consistently see the same zone. So I would almost predict another southern zone going into game 2 and then something that's going to bounce around. We'll see how that goes. But that proves so useful for these teams that are below that 50-yard line, beneath Harvester, et cetera, et cetera. From what I'm looking at, we don't really see anyone over towards that geyser area too. So that's kind of interesting. It's not really the best place for loot, but it's a good and decent spot to go and rotate from. About 30 seconds from now is typically when you're going to start seeing these pro teams rotate around that 1:30-second mark. And then we'll see who exactly wants to play the edge of the zone or who's going to be making their way in. It's tough. Going all the way from the north side to the south side, we will see a lot of fights in those choke areas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely believe it. It's also something that we saw so much out of EMEA yesterday, compared to the North American region, where you'll have something like 18, 19, maybe even all 20 squads in a lobby going into like the 4th round. It just doesn't happen. Teams like to fight a little early, and we already are seeing some action. It's Le Cite France.
Not quite yet. Not yet. Just a little, okay. Just a little jab here and there.
Yeah, just throwing some rockets out.
First bubble is going to be down. The thing is when you start rotating right at that 1:30-second mark, that's when you do see that first fight. And you don't really ever want to be the first fight in these type of instances. You know what you want to be? You want to be the last fight because that means you're winning the game. So sometimes you got to be a little bit careful. Yes, you want to pick up those early kill points. But when everyone starts rotating, that is one of the times where you have to be extra careful fighting. So it's good that everyone backed off right there. And Le Cite de France is going to be going and figuring out how they're going to be able to go and make their way over towards the zone. One of the best ways to do that Valkyrie's passive, just coming in late over here, checking and scouting for the rest of the team. You can see just getting such valuable information from that passive.
Yeah, I mean, so many things about this legend have really made the meta shake up ever since the release, really. Valkyrie just coming out and bringing so much value to teams, so much ability to gather information, and relatively safe, unless somebody tracks you really, really well on that skyward dive. We're going to be still following the Cité de France as they move their way down towards Fragment from the train tunnel. Get a little bit of an overview here for some of the squads on the southern end that can post up. Gambit is one of them.
Yeah, and this is going to be exciting because this is when those compositions kind of come into play here. You're going to have a lot of teams playing Caustic. You're going to have Lobas in the area. You're going to have Cryptos. And it's going to be so fun to see who's actually predicting this zone correctly and who's going to be able to hold off just the swarm of players that are going to eventually come in over here. And one of the best ways to do that, keep your head on a swivel. Also, having Caustic here would be pretty solid. But either way, Gambit, they have the weapons that they need. Having a longbow is very, very important in this. Any type of long range, you always want to have one player on your team with some sort of long range. So if you need to go and make a play, if you need to hold people off at that range, you can. But you have to be careful, though, again, people aren't pushing into your building, and that's why you need that poke.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very attractive one, especially depending on where the circle pulls. We're also getting a look at Reply Totem right now, who are posted up over in launch site, trying to take a couple of pot shots here. As we already saw one knock, it was going to be Ardeki actually getting that first one, but it's not going to be enough to actually secure anything just yet. As a couple more people start tagging their way in, Reply Totem are going to try and keep them out.
This is the thing that they have to be concerned about. It seems chill right now, but everyone's going to go and want your spot. So you have to make sure that you're hitting your shots, having a presence, and making sure that you're not really wasting your ammo. And that's why I love the discipline on not shooting those flatline shots. There's really no reason to go and waste that ammo, especially when you need to hold that down for quite some time. Taking a look at Guild and what they're doing, one of the teams that's going to be playing Edge. And you'll notice with these pro teams, if you're going to play Edge, you really have to play hard Edge. If you end up going kind of in the middle, you know, becoming the meat of the sandwich, and you end up kind of just griefing yourself in terms of making yourself a little bit vulnerable from your surroundings. So Guild's going to take their sweet time. They're going to just continue to check everything around them. And without the Bloodhound meta right now, makes things just a little bit more exciting.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of Guild, you know, I'm hearing we do have a couple of words from Matafe. Let's go ahead and take a listen in.
My teammates are Horizon and Silta. Horizon is our newest addition. He's playing on a controller. We have never played with a teammate on controller before, and we are very excited to have him with us and dominate close range combat. The second teammate is Silta. I have played with him for a long time, and we have before been rank 1 ALGS points together, and we just have an amazing...
Yeah, you know, good to hear Matafe talking about this squad. Of course, they were just signed by Guild, but we'll get back to that in a little bit because there is a bit of a fight. Bubble has gone down. Matafe is tracking another squad across the way here, Tom. Try to back away from that Arc Star as they go up into the balloon. Ooh, does find a little bit of armor there.
Nice crack right there. I love watching Matafe play. Again, he's played a variety of different legends throughout his Apex career. Now on Gibraltar, and it's really fun to see him kind of talk and build up his close-range combat compadre Horizon, where they're going to be playing on that controller, getting a little bit of that aim assist going in there. I know how controversial it is. Guess what? I play on controller. I love to see it, and I love seeing the pros go and continue to have that back and forth. I think that we're in a great spot, and Apex is one of those games that has a great balance in general with every state of the game, including what inputs anybody's using. But this is going to be a slow type of push here for Guild. Again, they're playing the Edge. They're waiting for this next scan, and this is very common, right? They're going to hold this for a minute. All of a sudden, the Valkyrie is going to come through, possible bubble if you need to, hit that scan, find out where Zone 3 is, and then they're going to elect again to play Edge or use that Valkyrie redeploy to go and position themselves.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Valkyrie has become so popular, right? You kind of have a get-out-of-jail-free card. If you find yourself in a bad circle pull, you can just get yourself repositioned. The rotations, you don't have to really find that spot quite as early anymore. But, you know, definitely more about that Guild squad. You know, before they actually got signed and they were called Orgless and Hungry, I actually just had in my notes, like, why doesn't this team have an organization? I'm so glad that Guild was able to pick them up. But we will be checking in on a couple other squads. Here is Dead Inside. This is one of the teams that was able to qualify through points in the preseason qualifiers. Going to find a nice high ground here as they do get a little bit of damage from downtown. Got to dodge some of those shots, though, Fuzu, on the 30-30.
30-30, another one of those guns. It's just perfect for keeping people at bay and just continuing to poke them away from your spot that you need to go and have. 1 to 2x, not the best scope for that type of weapon. Maybe the 2 to 4, 3 would be a perfect scenario there. But Dead Inside still locking things down. And we've seen other teams holding certain areas just like this, just like Gambit was prior. And it's all about, again, keeping your head on a swivel and having the weapons to go and do so. Plenty of ammo in this longbow, so you're going to be feeling really good with the 4.8 scope and locking this down. Again, priority position, zone should continue to pull this way as well.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these teams that ended up dropping south and getting a good position also are running Loba. Stanny is going to be the one for Dead Inside on that. So, you know, as this starts to close down, if everything favors them, they can keep posted up. This Loba gets more and more value as death boxes start dropping.
Now we take a look at the edge, and yes, we are just minutes into this game, but we already have 3 players down. That means everyone's playing extremely disciplined. Everybody knows where each other's landing. Most likely, the teams know where they're going to be rotating too. That's how much research goes into this. All the teams so familiar with one another, and that's why you have to play so extra careful. Now you enter these choke areas, and you never really know exactly where teams are going to be posted up. You may want to stay here and gatekeep to see if anyone's going to be coming behind you, because this is one of those instances where you have to start to push into the zone, but you're worried that you may end up getting flanked.
Yeah, it's always a tough calculus to try and balance here. And for La Cité France, it looks like they are just going to go ahead and make their way towards Geyser. You did point out earlier, Tom, that nobody really dropped on this particular spot. So the loot should actually be pretty good for this team. If they wanted to try and post up, of course, they would have to rotate a little bit further to the southwest. But for the time being, we are going to shift our focus over here to 69 IQ Esports, as they are not too far away.
Not far away at all, but you can see from the player outlines, there is a little bit of a battle that's about to occur here. And you can see again where they're located at on the other side too. So I love the fact that you're playing the high ground here. You have to be extremely careful that you don't take a ton of damage. But here comes the send. You can see a couple players pushing on over towards the side. You could have another player that's getting shot over towards the side. So a potential third party too means you have to take this fight almost instantly. Guild now showing up.
Here we go into the bubble. That's going to be popped down. They're going to try and match it here. And sliding and gliding, in comes Matafe, as he was able to get a little bit of damage and one knockdown there onto Smegito. That should be enough to get the finisher on the Thirst. And now they're just going to be looking to hunt down the remainder of the 69 IQ squad. You don't want to be the team that's going out in 18th place, or 19th place, I should say, early on these fights. We have seen quite a lot of them yesterday. This one's been a bit of a slower start.
So there's the first Thirst right there. It's important to go and get that player down so you can have all of the extra information being given. They're going to reset, check for any third parties this Horizon's going to take to the air. And they know now at this point, if a team hasn't came, they can go and take this fight cleanly. But the discipline not to go and push in until they're all healed is absolutely huge. But Tafe is going to actually go down here. That's not what they were looking for. If he gets thirsted, they're going to have to go get the res too.
Gotta be careful, and then he's going to have to run through that thermite. There is going to be the Valk hopping, skipping, jumping, and absolutely not enough. Ganji is going to get knocked here. They have to finish this fight, but it was a lot less clean than they wanted. Will be able to get back up, but man, that looked close for a second there, T-Squared.
A little too close for comfort. Again, Matafe, they could have really ruined their game just by a little bit of a thirst right there, because 50 seconds until the zone actually closes, they'd have to go and get the res. They wouldn't be able to loot right now. So the fact that Matafe was able to do a good job just crawling and keeping his knockdown shield up is a really big deal in these type of instances. And the fact that they were going for the 2 versus 3 and trying to close that out on the other side goes to show you they weren't interested in that one extra kill point. They're trying to get that team fight after that first knock. They've already felt really confident about that. It's just so hard to go and take down a team like Guild when they're that skilled. Matafe comes in, takes one for the team, does some damage, does a good job staying alive.
Yeah, trigger discipline at the beginning certainly pays off for them. Now we are going to check back in with La Cité France, who've had a relatively quiet go of things since they haven't run into anybody. Sometimes you get lucky like this in your pathing, you just don't run into any opposition as they make their way over to the edge of Lava Siphon here and into the circle proper. Let's see if they are going to encounter anyone along the way, though.
Yeah, get a nice little overlook over here. We're also going to get a chance to see the map here very soon, and we see exactly where round 3 is going to be going. The teams on the south side are living it up right now. Those teams towards the north, this is times where things start to get a little bit sticky, a little bit hairy over here, as everyone's going to start to really coexist and filter into spots that they want, priority positions on the map that they're trying to put themselves in a spot to go and succeed. Looks like La Cité de France is going to have to fight for one of those spots. They are in the zone coming up, but being on the low ground here isn't really ideal unless the zone's going to pull over here, which I don't think it's going to continue to pull and end directly where they're at.
Yeah, you know, it is La Cité de France kind of keeping with their same strategy, even though they had made a swap, you know, a bit ago with, I believe it was Lager comes in to replace Sirkbop, and just now they've kind of gone back to the same strat. Seems like it's working out well for them. So climbing up to the high ground just to try and see if they spot anybody on this one, playing really just off to the edge here as they were under fire a moment ago. Got to be careful as things start to close down.
Definitely got to be careful. And again, it's up to your Wraith in these type of instances to go and kind of be the information for your squad. Gonna be able to phase out, get that extra information, and then get back on over towards your teammates. But right now, he's trying to figure out how they're going to get into a better position than they already have. If they're not going to be able to, they know what to do. They're going to play this slow ground and continue to do their thing as they're going to go get some extra loot along the way. And there it is. You get the map, you get the zone pulled directly in the middle right here. So a lot of teams are going to end up fighting for this one. Look at everybody sitting up over towards that south-hand side that thought it was going to continue to pull towards launch site. Then you have teams coming in from the north, northwest, and northeast.
Yeah, and we are already going to see a couple of teams trying to bail out here. Is Guild going to use that Valkyrie Ultimate Skyward Dive, try and reposition themselves back into the circle? And this is just such an open area. As you mentioned, it's going to be a lot of fighting towards the end. We still have 18 squads up, 54 players remaining, and people are going to be making a mad dash for this zone.
This is a little bit scary. They're going to be landing pretty close to a team here, and that's what you have to worry about when you're playing Valkyrie. It's kind of scary. You may have to end up bubbling here if you're Matafe. Unfortunately, for other teams, they don't know exactly where they are. There it is. The Valkyrie missile barrage is coming, and now everybody kind of knows and has an idea. Hey, we're not going to let this Valkyrie team come in. Find out exactly where they landed. Are they all together? Yes, they are. Now, Horizon doing whatever he can to defend their situation. This is one of those things with the Valkyrie composition, with the current meta. All these players and teams need to be extremely aware of the sky when teams are flying in.
Yeah, somehow Guild managed by hook or by crook to just get in there, heal up without taking too much fire from any other missile barrages. And Guild, they're going to be able to spot another squad across the way here, and it's just going to be trench warfare as they try to wait and time out the bubble.
Yeah, waiting in time out the bubble is going to be big, and Matafe throws his bubble second as the defensive bombardment comes down, and perfectly timed. He's going to get the crack shields, waiting for that to go away so he can go and toss that extra grenade over there, and then hopefully they get some help coming in from behind. But they went from a situation where they played edge, got some kills. Now they're on the verge of wiping a team next to them while still being extremely close to the zone. This is a huge moment for Guild.
Yeah, we're starting to see a couple of teams dropping in the kill board right there, as they are going to try and wait out a little bit, but backs against the edge at this point. Matafe, he's already cracked, and he is in danger of going down as he's on the run, looks for the shield bat up here. The rest of Guild going to try to provide a little bit of cover fire, but Matafe is going to drop here. This is trouble.
Yeah, let's try to see if they're going to survive. Let's do a quick listen in with Guild and see if they can get Matafe back in this one.
Sure. Stay on me, he doesn't know I'm here. Finish your solo. Have you got ulti or not?
I don't. I had to.
Could you go grab the ulti cell, grab the armor smash? No.
I can't.
Just stay still. You have to this.
You can tank zone as well, by the way. It's only got one tick, bro. It's like a little tick.
I'm slow healing.
Come here, I've got, listen.
Left, peek left.
He's climbing up.
Climbing up.
Come here, I'm in a Valkyrie maybe. Do you think, or nah? Let me go under.
I'm so low. Flash. You got top. Just no, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't the play.
Boy, here in the last calls of the team, it was a very hairy moment there, but we don't really have any time to break that one down, Tom, because now we're tracking Ford Gang, and Phoenix nearly gets cracked on that one as they found a good spot to post up in the RV here.
We got time. Caustic teams, that's what they look for. They're looking forward to just wasting your time over and over again. So let's talk about what happened, because you could hear them say, Valkyrie now, they knew and sensed that that was the time to go, that they were in danger. Unfortunately, even if they pulled the trigger on that Valkyrie redeploy, they most likely would have been taken out while they were in the air or just kind of powering up since they didn't have Matafe and the bubble. But yes, a good position here, but the zone moving, that means they're going to have to go and make that play. It's going to come up to legit Lolly and a good bubble play. Again, Valkyrie redeploys, bubble is very common here. Problem is when you use that bubble going for the redeploy, you're not going to have it in time when you land.
Yeah, that's always a little bit rough, trying to work around that cooldown here, and just bubbles left, right, and center. Now we're on to Reply Totem, who've been able to hold up for the most of this game, but looks like as we got another circle pulling for the next round, a little bit to the northeast of them, they might have to reposition here. And this is a team that's kind of been blessed with some good positioning. We'll see what they can get done as they try to secure their spot in the top 10. And there's a lot of gas out the edge of that one here as they pop it open. Jay Savage looking for more, and there are just a lot of teams sitting in that bubble as it just expires.
You can see Nasky, Dell, Badoli, they're going to get eliminated in 12th place. A lot of players during this circle in this zone are going to be taken down. Yes, Reply Totem, they've been in this spot for a while. It's a great spot to be, but it's so highly contested. You have to make sure you're pushing teams back as another team is going to be eliminated. Reply Totem still locking things down with the Loba, holding players outside of their building. And eventually, they're going to have to do something about those people on the outside, whether that's pressure them or go and just try to eliminate them and filter them into another team. That's why you're going to see, again, Longbow being so useful in these situations.
Hey, that was Zeta Division that dropped in that one. So out in 10th place as we are down to our 9 squads remaining. Here's Gambit. This is the team, one of the teams to watch for sure, as they are able to wipe another squad off the map. And that was Ogre. Well played there on that Octane. Trying to bail out here. Hardeki, he's in trouble. Actually gets knocked before he could get out of there on the Valkyrie, and things are getting really hectic right now.
May have to bounce pad him here, just lay down some sort of cover fire. That could be a solo. You can see the L-Star 3x across the map. We'll see if they're going to be able to get that res and get the full squad back into this one after that unlucky turn of events. No Fear Gaming have a little bit of a trek in front of them. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this combination with the Crypto. Do they have the EMP? How are they going to go and approach this situation? Defensive bombardment should be coming up fairly soon as well. So they're not going to have the EMP, but they will have that extra Gibraltar utility if they need it.
Yeah, No Fear Gaming. Good showing from them in game number 1. This is one of our qualifier teams that got in on points. Full Italian roster here between Shex, Andy Jackson, Streamy. See what they can get done on that Crypto. Drone is out. Try and get that extra information. And it's gone.
Yeah, immediately taken out right there. That's what you hate to see as a Crypto player. But they did get information on where that player was. It was under the bridge. That seems to be the best spot to go and hold. It also didn't seem like that was a full team. You could see just 2 people and also not really aware of that portal play coming in. And that could kind of come back to bite them. But No Fear gets taken out immediately. It looks like it was a little bit of a debate as the team is pushing around over towards the side. And it's just up to Andy Jax. One more shot should do it. Oh, just for 38. They're
Try to
so
clutch.
close.
Oh, in the bubble. He's got 1 hit left. And he gets it. Oh my goodness, Andy Jax. Oh,
Andy
he's never been in that position.
Is that 1 HP or is that half HP? I can't really tell. I don't think I've ever seen anyone that low.
You know, it was just such a standoff for a minute. The 2 of them just trying to stutter step it out, but we don't got any time to talk about that. We are going to be looking at Gambit right now, as there is going to be another knock for Hardeki, taking out Lippin in this one, and Gambit just stacking the KP in this game. What a beautiful shot. And after Hardeki got knocked, the team full recover here, right in the center of this zone. It might be the #1 squad, 5 remaining.
I mean, it's totally cool if you and Sella want to change your predictions now that you see how game 1's going. Like, I totally understand.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not. I'm a man of my word. I got to stick to things here, but I am very impressed by Gambit this game.
They're coming out swinging. They've been playing very aggressive, but just you can see by the way that they're combining their teamwork together, how fast these fights are taking place, and you don't have a second to waste. They've now taken over the priority position, and they also have the most kill points going on right now in the lobby.
Yeah, let's take a look at the squads that we still have remaining. We can see on the screen, let's see, DeFran's still involved in this one. No Fear after that save, but they got to be a little bit careful here. A couple other squads. I do believe it's actually going to be the squad we looked at earlier, Dead Inside, who had a really good set of positioning. Some of our preseason qualifier teams really showing up big in game #1 here.
Yeah, they feel like they have a little bit more to prove because of the fact that they had to, again, go through that process. It's also a great opportunity to go and practice and continue to work on any type of kinks that you may have. And there it is. No Fear coming through. The EVA 8 is just ripping players apart right now, and having the Crypto, towards the tail end of the game. Again, EMPs are going to destroy all of these bubbles, and you can see how important these bubble fights are.
Absolutely. No Fear just coming back from the grave time. And again, meanwhile, Reply Totem having everybody pushing in on their territory. Backs against the wall right here. You do see 2 knocks. It's going to be Jay Savage, the last remaining, but we're going to tag away from that one because No Fear, they aren't wasting a single second just finding so much armor and finding so many of those knockdown shields to try and secure the thirst here. 3 squads remaining. It's going to be Gambit, and it's going to be 2 more here. One of them is No Fear, who, against all odds, have just fought over and over again, as they are in the low ground trying to pick this one up here, Tom.
This is looking really good for Gambit because they're ignoring this fight over towards the side, and they're slow playing things inside of the building. Also, bubble being used is detrimental over towards that side because you know Artico is going to come in with the defensive bombardment. Other bubbles going to be used. This could connect on all the players.
Dead Inside going to be the ones tracked here as Gambit from a couple different angles looking for more. The mortar's just raining down from above. Hardeki is going to get knocked on this one, but do they have enough power left in the tank to secure the win? Gambit looking for it in game #1, and Gambit will take it.
Rightfully so, too. That was so well-deserved. They fought the entire time. They were aggressive the entire time, but we talked about being passive-aggressive. That's what Gambit did right there towards the tail end. They let those 2 teams fight. They come around with a nice third party, and that defensive bombardment connected big time.
Ooh, what a beautiful set of plays there from Gambit. From minute 1 to finish, Tom, you were absolutely right to put your faith in this team. There's still 5 more games to go, but that was, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That was Gambit fragging out.
It really was. That was so impressive to watch. But keep in mind, that was just game number 1. We still have 5 more games to go.
Oh, yes, we do. All right. Well, I believe we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we return, oh, no, excuse me. We do have a little bit more time, so we can break it down, actually, Tom. Apart from Gambit, I mean, we saw a lot of our qualifier squads really stepping up in that one. Was there anybody that really surprised you?
Not really, not quite yet, because Gambit really just shined to me more than anything. The way that they were able, again, just the timing with the team fights, the way that they were able to collapse, the baiting and switching, the communication. I can't wait to go and listen in with them a little bit later, because we saw just exactly what they were doing and how they were working together. That comes from, again, the experience that they have, the camaraderie that they built up throughout all the time teaming together, and it really comes down to communication.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about a squad that's been together as long as they have. I mean, this is a team that's coming in and out of the CIS region and just really kind of lighting it up over and over again. They have so many accolades, including their solid placement in the EMEA championships last year. But yeah, some of those other squads that I did want to keep an eye on and wondered how they were going to be doing. I mean, getting into the top 3 for Dead Inside, that's massive for a team that, you know, they qualified on points. No Fear, the same story. Just some really clutch plays. You know, you mentioned that EVA 8 on the Gibby. It was just really, really beautiful to see. Maybe a little bit of scuffed Wraith portals, but, you know, I mean, you can't be perfect 100% of the time. So really good to see them actually able to bail themselves out of a bad situation. But, you know, on the opposite end, as we're going to get the scoring up, we're doing the math right now, crunching those numbers, but I didn't see a whole lot of scars, I have to say. So I'm scratching my head and wondering what happened to the champions in this one, if they just got a hot drop or something.
Again, game number 1, it could go any type of way, but if you come out swinging, you're feeling really good, that just goes to show that your hard work is paying off immediately. Again, sometimes you get a little bit of jitters, you know, and again, Apex is so crazy in the way that it's played. It could be down to where the zones pull, where teams are going and rotating, where the chokes are being played. You know, maybe you don't expect a Valkyrie team to go and fly in on you, and those a handful of different Valkyries that are going to come through and try to take your spot. So that's why it's so impressive for these southern zones, especially to go and continue to lock that building down for a long period of time.
Yeah, the teams that were able to just really post up for a while. I mean, Gambit definitely had good positioning. So did Reply Totem for a while. But of course, you saw when teams started to push them, they had a hard time really stopping it. One of the things I do want to mention, when you talked about a couple of caustic squads that we saw early on in the game, or as the circle started to close in, excuse me. But it's definitely less popular than it is in the North American region. And it seems like it does seem to go hand in hand with the aggression that the EMEA region brings out. Is that something that's borne out in your experience?
I think so. I also think that EMEA has been one of the innovators in terms of what the meta is going to be. And I think that they're, you know, constantly evolving things. They tend to, it's almost like fashion. It's like they get the strategies first, like they get the fashion first or something along those lines. So I really think that they have a very aggressive play style. It didn't really come out in that game. We saw, again, a lot of slow play. I think 19 squads still going into, you know, zone 2, zone 3. Again, and it's very zone dependent. As we take a look at those scores, look at the amount of kills, 25 points. That's how you start things off for Gambit Esports.
13 KP and a first place finish. How about them, Gambit, right there? And No Fear, they're coming right behind, but it's still a bit of a gulf already. You know, we saw a couple teams pulling away, particularly North America yesterday with the likes of Sentinels, but this is already a great start for Gambit. You look at the top 10, you saw Zeta Division, they were the ones who went out in 10th, and you know, I kind of was looking at this squad thinking, all right, well, these guys can either light it up or they're going to wipe early. They kind of found an in-between, and Scars, they found a little bit of KP too. We weren't able to track them in a lot of that chaos, but still picking up a little bit of kills, a couple placement points. Still, though, from the returning champions, you definitely expect a little bit of a higher placement, even in game number 1.
And one of the things to point out here is when you look at these top 3 teams, look at the amount of points that they actually soaked up. That means a lot of these teams are going to be struggling to find points. I mean, 25 points. Look at just half of the kills, basically, from just those top 3 teams on the entire map. So that's a great start for Gambit, No Fear, and Dead Inside.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for those teams that qualified in on points, they have to be feeling pretty happy for their performance so far. It's just about keeping it up. But let's take a look at our champion squad. It is Gambit, Hardeki, Artico, and Leogri. Well done. And whoa, look at that damage right there on the Valkyrie.
You also get the MVP, which is most important thing, obviously. You know, it's nice getting the money. I think we got $125,000 up for grabs during the split, but get that MVP stamp in game number 1 has to feel good for our deck.
Absolutely. And, you know, this squad definitely showing why you put so much faith in them, why we said they were a team to watch. I wonder if they can keep up that performance going into games 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Certainly a good start. The zone did favor them a little bit, but I mean, if you're able to take that and work with it, then it just shows that you are worthy of taking the win in any of those games. And well, Tom, I know you have a lot of faith in this team. Are there any other teams you think could show up and challenge them in this one?
I'm still looking out for teams like Na'Vi. I'm looking at Scars like y'all are as well. I think that Nasky's team always going to do some big things. I'm looking forward to see how Badoli is going to do. Again, a very, very strong competitor overall. So those are the teams that I'm looking out for too. But like you mentioned, kind of rooting for these teams that have gone through the qualification process. And why not? I always love rooting for the underdogs. So I'm looking forward to all those teams doing well.
Certainly. Well, we got a lot more games on the horizon, but we are going to be taking a quick break. When we return, James Bardoff and Vicky Kitty will be bringing you all the action for Game 2.
Что если ты делаешь? Запрашал, Эдж.
Ульта твоя нужна.
Дал. Ебал. Дальше. 360. Кракнул все. Снизу все. Я в него улетел соло. Он как летит? Он ком идет. Любой пожалуйста. Здесь гиб. Лучшие!
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Gambit Esports is really putting themselves on the map after that first game, and now we are moving on to game number 2. I'm here, Vicky Kitty, joined with James Bardoff, and I'm so excited to be taking you guys through game number 2.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really exciting. And I have to give huge props to No Fear for the previous game as well, because I think what they did was outstanding, considering how they got into this tournament on points in the first place. From Italian gaming as well, it's not the biggest scene in gaming in general, so I think it's very easy for them to be an underdog. But I'm going to say one thing. If they win a game today, I'm going to eat this entire panettone. The whole thing is going to go straight into the back of my head or wherever my throat is. I think that was a very impressive performance from them. Of course, Gambit did fantastic with the amount of kills they got, but I think that's especially as a probably the biggest underdog on the server, that is a great first game for them.
Absolutely. That's why I was telling T-Squared, I want to know what the script is. Leak it out for us, because apparently you know something here with your predictions that we don't. Of course, we are going on to game number 2, so that was just the beginning here, James. I'm excited to see how some of these teams have been able to adapt, and even seeing certain legends like Lobo, of course, being on 3 different squads. I mean, we don't really get to see that every day, but leave it to EMEA to honestly be able to pave the way for a lot of these unused legends.
Yeah, speaking of legends here, we see Caustic. I know you're not a fan, Vicky. I certainly am, though. Any character who can grief and just cause you massive problems, I'm a fan of. The evil guys, the sadistic guys as well. That's a thumbs up from me. And I think that you've got to put Loba in there as well, because late game, if you can just ammo dump and just take all the ammo from a small area and just raid boxes as soon as people are taken, take all the batteries and so on, all those crucial little pieces of utility that may be scarce at that point in the game, that can really leave people extremely weak, maybe with no shields. And hey, yesterday we had some nice comps as well of like Horizon Fuse, and that was used to great effect, especially that Q spam on Fuse. I would love to see some of that today as well.
That's what I really love too when I take a look at the EMEA region. Between, of course, a lot of these Caustic squads that we've seen make their moves into the meta, of course, with the Valkyrie and the Gibby, we also see characters like Fuse. We see a lot of these Lobos, and it's so refreshing because it really shows you that a lot of these legends are viable at this top level play in the Pro League.
Yeah. And we've got to talk about crypto as well. I think there's a big focus on movement. We're seeing like Wraith, Valkyrie, and so on, to just get people from A to B. But I think you know, a lot of people would put crypto in the highest tiers when it comes to tier lists in this game, and we're seeing a few cryptos here and there. Of course, we've got one on No Fear as well. Such a tight situation for them at the end there. I'm amazed they got that many kills, but again, I would like to see some more cryptos as well. I think that information, because it's like safe information, right? Like they sent a drone out, it got killed immediately, but it's the drone. It'll come back. So that's much better than, say, doing a hot drop of a Valk and maybe half your team gets down because you didn't quite get the position you wanted and so on. So I want to see some more cryptos here as well.
Yeah, I always give props, of course, to the cryptos who make it work, especially at these type of lobbies. It's so difficult here. Gambit Esports is coming off of that win for game 1. You have to imagine here, James, that they're going to be able to bring some of that momentum going into the second game, and they look to be already looted up here too. Not only rocking that blue extended energy mag on the L-Star already, but being able to ping already a gold extended heavy mag that Gambit Esports is going to be able to tear the lobby up with.
Yeah, and the colors of their shields as well is fantastic. You want to get off Grey as soon as you can. Grey is squishy. Grey is almost naked. It's very close, and it's not a situation anybody wants to be in, especially when you're moving from place to place. So having double blue and purple is a good situation for them. You can see standing with confidence now, trying to scout for information, see what's going on. Now with Future Perfect still looting up. L-Star, of course, has become extremely popular, and boy, is it painful. I want to be on the receiving end of one of those.
Yeah, you feel like you're on the other side of the microwave, essentially. And currently, we see already a fight going down that new iteration of the map, Lava Siphon. And as we currently see G-Snake being able to rotate over to the side here, they have that gold Evo shield to work with. And Badoli was in some trouble, as it seems like they were in a fight earlier. They probably backed off here because they noted that this area is prone to getting third party very easily since it's in that rotation point mid-map.
Let's go this way.
Don't want to be caught out in the open very, very often. It's almost, they're almost like little octopi, these guys, you know? Oh, there's an early engagement there. They will see that gold armor. At least he can get that back up very quickly indeed. Oh, he gets down before even a cell can be dropped. That's going to make things very awkward, but I can't imagine Gambit going to chase him to this position. because there is risk involved in that as well.
Yeah, but
Someone's
the thing
gonna
is,
go and fix him up.
Gambit is just playing so aggressively, and now noting that Badoli's in trouble with the L-Star putting in as much damage as it is. I mean, at this point, you're playing Crypto and Caustic like we were talking about earlier, and with Serdell being the Wraith and having the portal, this may be the best bet to reposition, but it's so difficult because now you're currently seeing Gambit pushing forward.
While Gnaski trying to recover, we're going to take a closer look at the team for the video.
My teammate Serdell, he's the fragger on our team. He's the guy that's frontlining, making space for us, putting pressure on enemy teams. We've recently picked up a new third named Badoli. He is our flex character, which means that he's able to play any character required. What I admire about Badoli is the fact that he has played on multiple teams, and every single team he's played on has done amazing. What I admire about Serdell is how good he is at adapting and learning.
Well, they said Badoli was the flex character, but he couldn't bend enough to get out of that situation. Broken and needs to be res now, but that's the advantage of having a Crypto. The loots will likely be lost, but at least they can hopefully get their teammate back into the game.
What is this party going on here? I didn't get an invitation. Everybody wants to be over here by the new Rampart area. You even see another squad all the way in the back who, with a longbow, I'm not too sure if they're the ones getting pressured or if they're the ones putting... Oh, no, they're the ones actually getting pressured with so many squads already making their way down here towards Lava City. It's nice to note that this is where a lot of this action is going to just be weeded out, James.
Yeah, that is a party with way too many attendants. So I think there'll be some expulsions soon, and I'm looking forward to that. All the round one closing, so but some others there's some chill, but there's no chill in Big Mord, and we're seeing the problems now. People crawling all over the place, hands and knees in the mud, and surely we'll start to see some team eliminations here. You can see Laggers getting dropped, and oh god, might see a team wipe soon. Still 20 squads up, but it's got people getting down left and right. Extremely awkward now, and Maliwan really to try and stay alive here, just showing some presence really with that L-Star, not quite aiming at anything, but just trying to ward off a push. Trying to hide behind the shield as well. We've got some arc stars coming through, and there's no more shield. Down goes another one. It goes from bad to worse.
Oh, the sacrifice. We keep seeing these solo players that are left after the chaos happening in this type of building, and with this Rampart area, having a Caustic is going to be so beneficial, which is exactly what Clean is riding here, and they are also riding out with the 2 purple Evos, so they're pretty healthy too. You could even note here, the Dolphin having already that blue Evo shield, despite that, has a lot of shield cells to work with, a lot of health, and that Valkyrie deploy if they notice that this is just not worth the risk with so many squads still present in the lobby.
There are so many squads still present on Big Mord. I can't believe how much movement there is here. That has got to be very nervous territory indeed. But I feel like it's kind of like drug dealers to some degree. Like, the more you put away in prison, the stronger the ones that remain get. So whoever's left in Big Mord, once these other teams evacuate or get eliminated, it's going to have so much loot left. And I imagine they're going to evo their armor as well. So you can see the looting coming through now as we have lost one team, 19 squads remaining. Maybe there'll be some calm for a brief time at Big Mord. Only for a brief time. Looking forward to these wingman shots as well. We'll see some nasty aim coming through in the early games here. Hopefully all these players have warmed up and their shots will be on point.
Especially from a player like Toshin. I'm excited to see more gameplay from him. Scarzy, you of course being one of those teams that I was definitely looking out for. They didn't do so hot in the first game, so they have to redeem themselves here. And I like the way that Clean is playing this very slowly. They just want to make sure that they're not going to overextend, because these squads, they're just waiting for that first fight to happen, so that way that third party has no problem just making their way over, interrupt what they weren't invited to. G-Dolphin now just trying to find that shot with the Sentinel to have an extended mag, but doesn't need it right here. If he could land these 2 solid shots, so that way they could get the entry frag onto this point.
No, but with so many sounds, so much movement, so many players around in Big Mord, even if you down a player, do you try and ape the rest? Or you got to be scared of a third party here. It's like very, very nervous territory. Even if you get a chance on one team, so many other teams are just waiting to take advantage of a distraction like that to a third party, 3P, 4P. Who the hell knows? I want to see the carnage though, man. I want to see the BM, and this is what I'm talking about. You just can't move for free. We've got snipers all over the shop. They're considering it.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah,
That's the fact he just needed 2. That was just 2 shots that he needed right there. And honestly, I don't expect him to go for it here, James. At this point, you're putting yourself at risk. Giving up the fact that you're in this cover and seeing that there's so many squads in this area would be so risky.
Ooh. Oh my god, that is so satisfying. Apex is a very satisfying game. Even watching and not playing, man, it's feel good Just watch those shots get landed. And again, they've come in hot, certainly. Be popping off like that early on. Very, very good sign. See Zeta trying to jockey for position. Team very, very close. L-Stars are out. There's a crack. Glass has been broken. And the shield has to go up. The dome to protect, to try and get those shields back up once again. Still 19 squads on deck.
So intense here, James. And to note, too, that there's about like 5 or 6 squads hanging out in that Rampart area alone. Meanwhile, No Fear Gaming, they're not playing with no fear exactly here as they want to go for a longer rotate out of circle. They see themselves kind of struggling a little bit. Time to note, of course, Streamly does have that drone to note which squads are within the area, like you were talking about before. Of course, Crypto being that type of character to provide that intel without overextending. And they are noting that there may be somebody outside of the circle or maybe waiting to circle keep them if they aren't careful, as this is kind of open ground. They really only have that fence to resort to.
Yeah, the heat's not too high just yet, but they will need to find some peace somewhere to heal up. Of course, they would be vulnerable to caustics with this low health, so you never know where a barrel's going to turn up. I like to have a good BM barrel outside a building though, where, you know, if someone's going to come in for a fight, then try and dash out, run around the corner, straight into a barrel and die. Those are the premium peak barrels. See, I'm all about the grief. I live for this.
Oh man, I can see that. This is why I just gotta grief our games in the future right here. This is not what I like to see, but what I do like to see, James, though, is Forgan taking this slowly. They know where the next circle is. They have the redeploy. We've noted that there's so many squads hanging out by that rampart area that we have to know that that's gonna be that hot zone. Meanwhile, Nodus, they have no issue getting these knocks, and we've been seeing these longbows and sentinels in the kill feed. But right here, we got Max Strafe who's rocking the charge rifle.
Yeah, I love me some charge rifle as well. Just shreds shield cells, man. Like, it might not get you as many kills as a longbow, but it will certainly weaken a team out of there very, very quickly indeed. And look how much damage was taken in that split second. Very quick on the trigger finger there to just propel to safety. And they'll have to heal up now. Well, this is... could see a domestic here later with these different teams on the different floors. Maybe they'll make peace for the time being as they'll have to look through the windows and see what else is around them. And they've got some moving to do. This round is closing soon, so things are going to become awkward here extremely quickly.
And No Fear Gaming has just played this rather slowly. They do note that there is another team, of course, in this building that they try to pressure out that are holding the high ground, but essentially just taking up some real estate without paying any sort of rent here. And No Fear Gaming, they're okay with that. They have the portal if necessary. That's basically their only mobility option here, of course, while having the Gibby and the Crypto. My only concern is how this top squad is going to have to deal with this. They don't want to drop down, of course, on this squad that's right below them, but they will also be putting themselves in the line of sight of every angle of these other teams that have secured these buildings.
I'll be just having a look at what the climate is around them. They can just edge forward, and again, just pestering. Charge rifle's so annoying, trying to avoid a different team, and they're just like, the charge rifle's an enabler. Okay, it's just going to allow the person you're shooting to get popped by someone else who they're trying to get away from, which is why it's a fantastic grief machine.
You know, I was gonna say, you essentially just get tickled by it, and you can't help but feel disrespected, but that's the point right here. Mentality is also a thing that you have to consider when it comes to this competition, and now currently see them as they rotate over to the side. This is the Crypto squad that we noted earlier, but Dolly, of course, now in this fight, they've learned their lesson after being on that low ground closer to the geyser, and they're fighting this outside of circle, also noting that this enemy, they've got the red Evo shield already. Meanwhile, they only have 2 blue Evos. Yeah, seeing that red Evo shield is not a good time, and it's certainly not a good time here for Zeta either. They got to get 2 members up, and Global will do its best to try and get there. Especially with all these snipers around as well. How do you stand next to respawn beacon? Very scary territory. So looking for that intel. Just having a look around, see what's going on. Look for the potential rotations. Oh, they know right there, that is the ret that they wanted to try to look at. I'm pretty sure that is the Loba from the original squad that had the red Evo shield, but this is such a tough situation to be in where you're getting pinned by 2 squads on both angles.
Yeah, I think we can do a listen into Gnaska to see what they're talking about at the moment.
Look behind us, okay? Look behind us at all times. Dog, get ready for a portal here, okay? When we portal, we're gonna run for this. We can make a run for it right now. I'm checking the buildings, what stories are free.
You want me to pull for the truck, right?
Port from the truck.
Run all the way to the truck, okay?
Yes. Come, Badoli, come, Badoli. Second is free, okay? Second is free. There's a team on bottom.
Let's go this way.
Can you make it from here? Can you make the portal from here?
Yeah.
Just start it ASAP.
Get out in the open, but it's fine.
Second is still free.
It's safe.
My EMP though.
Yep.
Me and Badoli might need a rest here. Any Phoenixes?
No.
Good fucking portal. We're fucking in it, boys. We're fucking in it, okay? I'm gonna need your gold armor to heal up.
I've got no more belts now.
I'm gonna need your gold armor, Del. Come over here. Careful from the second story.
Listening to those intense comms here, noting this, and now making that shield self so that way they can heal up quickly and still stay in this fight, prevent the pressure from this squad that's right underneath them. It's the key here. And you also see the Caustic Bureaus coming out, blocking these doors, and kind of doing the opposite of what you're saying, instead just holding that door on the inside just to prevent some of these squads from feeling confident enough to break down that door from the front. And talking about some beams here, it's Phoenix Legacy now bringing in this fight, just trying to take an angle, but they don't want to find themselves sandwiched between these two squads that they're looking at.
Yeah, this is really awkward for them as we see a third coming in from the back, and there's nowhere for them that's safe, really. They're on the low ground now above another team, and it's an awkward peak for 69 IQ, the UK team, with Solo Q Goats playing yesterday. They would have been my pick, of course, but I had to go with the UK man. This time, they had a really tough game. They were in an even more awkward position when they went down in the previous game. Nowhere to go, looking for a desperation Valcol, which certainly would have ended in disaster as well, but doing okay for the time being.
This pressure right now with a lot of these squads, this is such a difficult situation because then you see where the circle is pulling and you're forced on that open ground, or you're forced to go through this choke point with these squads taking these different angles as they had rotated there a lot earlier in the game after noting so many of these squads hanging out in the rampart area.
Oh dear, we've got a bombardment and they need to get back out into the open now. They're okay for the time being, it seems, 69 IQ, but what is their next play? To head forward again. I think they're going to have to fight here. Some peppering of the Valcol. There's the first one, and they might be able to escape this one, maybe not! Oh my god, I can see some crimson everywhere, and down they go, falling like flies. That is utterly brutal. Utterly brutal to see, but it's an opportunity for 69 IQ. They need something from this game after failing in the previous game, so far so good for them.
My gosh, why don't you talk about clipping the wings off of the Eagle straight up? Everyone just came falling down. What a great position for 69 IQ Esports. And now it's their turn. They're going to use the redeploy. They're going to be able to reposition themselves. But I always get so scared here, James, when it's this circle. You still have 17 squads left, 16 aside from 69 IQ Esports, that they have to worry about when it comes to this repositioning. They do know where they're currently going to be at, but we saw earlier how many squads that were taking one building alone.
Yeah, they can't have any idea what the heat map looks like in this area because it is piping hot, even hotter than the lava just to the side. So many teams in this area. You can see some Badoli having some success finally after getting deleted earlier, getting some downs to crown him up, and Phoenix Legacy are in so much trouble now. Just relying on their last player. He's got absolutely no armor. He could do an armor swap here if there's a chance, but as we can see, there's another player just on the other side of that door, desperately going for a syringe. Has he got any shields left? What is the play here? Does he go for a res? They're in such a dangerous position.
That is so scary because not only do you not have a building, you are quite literally staring at the front doors of where another squad is holding. And they're going to know when that res comes out because that's the sound cue. Meanwhile, 69 IQ Esports with Slayers still alive. He not only the kill leader, but having to get away, does have gold armor if they could heal up in time. But you know that this squad, they may try to fully send it if they do know where Slayer's position is.
Yeah, needs to rescue his team's banners, but there is so much going on. Maybe with a distraction, he could potentially do that. Gambit still doing well. Hardeki on the red armor now with double perp and the rest of the team. Drilling some opponents.
Crazy to see how Gambit Esports has been performing so far now, being able to still stick in this game, still being able to get some of these kills. Want to make sure that they could elevate their lead that they've already been able to build up for themselves already in that game one. I really like the way that they're holding this position, but they're going to have to start rotating soon as they're not in circle.
It was 2 years ago when I last got to commentate Apex Legends, and Hardeki was doing well then, and it's great to see that he's still doing good now. Very aggressive caustic barrels pops, as we can see. They've got some armor swaps around for the time being as well. That's a big wall for them to hide behind. And that zone is going to get so small. There are still 12 squads up. There's been so many around the buildings nearby for so long in this game, and there's still action in that position as Stanny's putting in some work. Getting some nice KP here. We've got teleports in and out. Looking to drop a nasty grenade as well, and there's just like mistakes are being made. There's instant regret coming through that TP.
Oh, Stanny is actually insane the way the reaction's coming out. Not only being able to get that hip fire with that gold R301 that they managed to take away from the Rampage spot, but also being able to get 2 knocks, position that grenade. You talk about the action, and we see the Seer ult coming down to allow a squad to know where everybody is, and they're holding that high ground. The best situation here when it comes to this circle, but you know everyone's going to fight you for the same position.
I can't imagine how much is being seen through that Cyril at the moment. It's going to be sheer panic on the comms. What do you even decide to do? And here is ZMB, the last man standing for his team. Gambit completely cracked and utterly deleted. And we go down to 8 squads now, moving with Dead inside, who've got their armor up, and that is a rare sight to see around these buildings. Grenades flying all over the place, and the carnage does not stop. Such a small ring, 8 squads remaining, death boxes all over the place. And still, this entire time, there's been teams on every single floor, and it still continues. ZMB still alive alone up top, just refilling his red armor. We'll see if there's anything else that he can do.
I'm so surprised that ZMB is still alive too, by the way. Just being able to maintain this high ground position, having to hide away when he was so low. I'm worried right now at the squad that's right underneath them.
He's popping a respawn beacon. Where do they even land? Surely they're going to get deleted immediately, and that's 3 KP for someone. I can't imagine how his teammates survive.
Yeah, they're just gonna have the most fun with it too. You have to worry about what happens once they come back down. And you see all these boxes that are on this low ground too. It's not like you could give up that high ground positioning here. With so many of these squads also running the Valk, they're gonna have no issue getting onto that high ground just to contest.
Yeah, and what about the team immediately below ZMB? Maybe they just go for a push immediately. Oh, okay. That's a very risky grenade, but we'll see if it pays off. Able to heal up. Look at that team just around the corner. You can see Stanny is just waiting for a almost inevitable push, but got to make sure his teammates don't block the Arcstar when he tries to throw it, because otherwise that could be really awkward. Got the EMPs coming off as well. Got to switch out to get the shields up once again as that ring is starting to close. Going for the Eva rate, that's going to be really key. Never mind the Arcstar. Red armor closed. The domes are up as well, and it's time for them to come out.
Refer to the fact that they are so quick to react not only to a lot of these repositionings, but the opposing squad that sees everybody in the line of sights as the circle slowly closes in. Dead inside have already utilized that dome so that way they can close in this space. But these 3 squads that are holding these ground have to look at their backs, because you know that none of these squads are just going to waste out on the opportunity on being able not only to get a flank, but to be able to pressure out some of these squads that have all their attention on this squad right now that's getting EMP'd. The Beamage with the R301, but limited on some ammo right now with only 27 bullets.
Indeed, but putting in work, and they'll get some KP from this with the downs if they can finish off the job for Gang. Just enjoying things from a distance, but with 12 bullets left, got to pull out the Eva rate and try and go for some more. Moving to the high ground, the caustic barrels as well are getting dropped and removed. Boom is up, and the push is inevitable. Caustics will exchange now. Maybe some confusion as to whose barrel that is, but the meat shots coming in from the shotgun. Down to the last 2 squads. Can Ford Gang go all the way now? We've got gas all over the shop. They've still got 2 players up for the time being. Got to get the reload in. Just that one gun for Phoenix as he tries to get a final kill. Behind the shields on either side. Got the drone going absolutely bananas as well. There's the crack, and Ford Gang will take the game. Number 2 going their way. Pyrotechnics will be very happy with that.
Can we talk about the way that they just played that out so slowly, not trying to get too nervous here? You want to make sure you play this patiently, wait for the opportunity, and the Eva 8 in close quarters, of course, being the most lethal shotgun, in my opinion, right now when it comes to the meta of shotguns. That was absolutely fantastic from the Ford Gang. Love it, especially when you see those clutch moments in the intense 1v1 situations.
We saw so many teams around those buildings, almost, well, it feels like for the entirety of the game, but towards the end, their Ford Gang found a great position to just chill. Found some players desperately trying to move for position around those buildings, just getting free KP, free downs, just chilling, running out of bullets here and there, but moving in. Had the Valk as well for some quick elevation on the high ground, and just really made it work for them. Down to a 1v1 towards the end, shield versus shield, but that Eva 8 came in absolutely clutch. So fantastic performance from Ford Gang towards the end there, but I just can't believe how many teams were in that building for so long. Like, I would love to see a heat map of that area, because how could you, like, when the Seer ult came out, like, what are your comms? There are people everywhere. Where do you go? What do you do?
At that point, you just say, all right, guys, I mean, it is literally a graveyard out here. There are probably so many boxes around too, and you are just forced to just sit on the high ground and watch everything happen because you're struggling. You're trying to get in your teammates by utilizing the respawn beacon like you were talking about, but at that point, what can you do when you are on the high ground and the circle is not only pulling away from the building, but forcing you to just walk into this open ground where a lot of these teams coming out of those buildings don't have the cover other than those fences. Once they get past those fences, that dome for a lot of those squads that they're engulfed around, they're going to be a lot safer when it comes to their positioning.
Yeah, I really wish we were able to see. I don't know if ZMB was able to get the respawn beacon off, actually. I saw it landing on the roof, but there was so much action. I just wanted to see, like, I would love to see a camera of them coming back in. Just watch their untimely demise, because I just don't know how they survived. It would have been interesting to see if they landed on the roof, if the team below would decide to go for that. Surely that's got to be in their favor, but then do you want to risk losing your relatively safe ground? Like, there's so many decisions that had to be made there. But I can't wait to see the overall scoreboard again. A big W for 4Gang. I think 69 IQ. It looked like they had a slightly better game than we saw earlier on. And we saw various teams like Badoli got killed early on. He got respawned, found himself with some blue armor and so on, was able to do something with it. So there was definitely hardship that had to be overcome for some of these teams as they move through, and we can see the results here. There, 4Gang up top, 8 kills for 3 of the teams at least. Naski and Navi in second and third place as well. So 20 points for 4Gang straight off the bat in this second game. Not too shabby at all.
Not at all. I actually really like the way that a lot of these teams have been performing. With Gambit Esports taking that first game with 25 points, I think it should highlight here with 4Gang taking game number 2 with 20 points, how close in skill that we're seeing a lot of these EMEA teams really come back when it comes to the talent that are on these rosters.
Yeah, and we see No Fear Gaming making it to 5th, and I'm going to keep an eye on them again as the relative underdogs from one of the smaller gaming countries, if you will, of Italy. I think it's fantastic, and I think they're doing a really big rep for their country here. So I think they've got a good score out of the second game as well. So they're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, you can see right here, the champion squad, they play their positioning perfect. And I just want to highlight, legit Lolly, who had that dome shield out, really came in clutch to allow Phoenix to pop off with that EVA 8 in those close quarter fights. You saw Phoenix actually utilizing the bottom part of that dome from the Gibby, really kind of peek through and be kind of cheeky with the way that the shots were actually able to come out from the bottom. And they were able to not only take advantage of their position, but that slight window of opportunity with those shots going through the dome at the very bottom too.
Yeah, and it's great to see a Caustic in the winning team. Like, I'd say two of my mains, Bangalore and Caustic, and I love to see a Caustic in there. We're not seeing as many Caustics in this region today as we're seeing in North America necessarily, so it's nice to see them still performing. I think it's there are so many options, and I think that's a credit to a great game is that you can have so many different comps at the moment, but I love seeing me some gas and traps and people blocking doors and just being annoying, so thumbs up to the Caustic place.
And highlighting the fact that we've been seeing so many different legends come out. We were talking a little bit earlier when the game started, but just being able to see a lot of these squads find success in these late games with Crypto. We saw that EMP attempt come out. We see the Lobas from 3 different squads here in the EMEA region. I really like that character diversity and how that's going to play into the meta as we progress through these future tournaments.
Absolutely. It is break time. When we're back, more carnage in Apex Legends. We'll see you soon.
Playing light. I'm playing light.
Race, where does this one
Never lost his life.
Never lose! Let's go!
I don't lose back once, baby. I don't lose them when I'm locked in. Done.
Lenovo Legion. Gaming PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Mental health and wellness is so important in the world of gaming.
For me, mental health is the most underrated thing.
It's important to take a break from that competition to reset yourself.
We're all kind of like an extended family. We have to look at each other like that could be my brother or my sister.
I promote
and practice positive mental health.
All right, we are back. 2 games down and several more remaining, and there has been absolutely no shortage of action. Hey everybody, I'm still Pyro, he's still T-Squared, and Tom, Gambit dropped out in 8th last time around. You still keeping the faith?
I still am, but one of the teams looking good has to be Dead Inside. They've been consistent, top 3 in the first game, 4th right there in game number 2. So they're definitely playing the end zones. They're predicting things very well. Watch out for Dead Inside, but watch out for a zone to pull over towards more central on the north side. I feel like if it's going to go over towards the south again, a lot of the teams that land over towards Skyhook are going to be crying.
Yeah, 3 in a row would feel pretty bad for those northbound teams. We'll have to see how it ends up pulling this time around, but I have been enjoying a lot of those open firefights. It was a party at Lava City last time around, and maybe things will mix up just a little bit. We've had teams just kind of running, for the hills, running for the valleys, running for everywhere. Yet again, we saw Le Site de France really kind of pulling about as hard as they possibly could, but still making good placement. I think another thing worth pointing out, it was caught on earlier in that last game, but there is a team that likes to run the Seer composition, and that is ZMB on Nemesis, a French team that qualified through the qualifiers, I should say. And it was nice to see some of these new legends coming up, a little bit of extra diversity there, and mixing things up in this region to try and get a little bit more information out of those abilities.
I agree, and I'm really happy with the current meta because, again, the Bloodhound scans just make it a little bit difficult to go and make pushes. It's constantly giving away information, and it makes it more exciting just for me, and I feel like for everybody, really, when you just have these unpredictable fights because you get to do a little bit more maneuvering. You get to go and make some extra plays. So I'm excited right now to go and see less Bloodhound and more of these characters that are going to force action. Valkyrie is going to go and force action. You're going to have people setting up with Caustic, obviously, and that's kind of the meta that's kind of shifted over. But we used to be in a spot where it was like, if you're not running Wraith, Watson, and Pathfinder, then you most likely weren't going to be able to win. Now you could basically play based on what you're good at, what your team's going to be able to do, because we have so many awesome legends that have been introduced, and I can't wait to see what we have in store for us for the next updates coming forward as well. But in terms of what's going on right now, definitely playing inside the middle of the zone is what's going to be working for a lot of these teams. You have to get there early. You have to predict it. I don't think outside edge is going to work very well because of the fact that third parties will start to come through. And I'm expecting that to continue going forward in the next games.
Yeah, I think so, especially for a lot of those squads that have had to really make a lot of tracks when the circle doesn't end up pulling their way. The edge just gets harder and harder, especially when there's a lot of natural barriers to try and circumvent. But of course, that's where the Valkyrie comes in handy. You were talking about all these new legends that have come in and made so many changes. I mean, few, I think, have had as much of an impact as that one. The reposition from the Skyward Dive has just been so massive. But as we have seen, it is not always the safest thing to do as things start to narrow down. There's a lot of squads. All of a sudden, you can get picked out of the sky a little bit easier. So seeing some teams go in a couple different directions is really cool. You caught onto the Caustic as well. That was in a winning composition. We definitely see it a little bit less here in EMEA than we do in North America, it seems. But there are still a lot of squads that are happy to pick it up and just try and post up in a lot of places. Those RVs seem to be really popular. A lot of those buildings, if we do get a skyhook facing circle, I think that definitely has a lot of a rise in stock there for Caustic.
Yeah, Caustic's so strong for a handful of different reasons. One is obviously the AoE that you're able to control building with. Two is disengaging from certain teams too. You can really use Caustic to kind of reset, stop any third parties that are coming down, and also keeping people outside of your building. That's really key. Teams are going to push in, they're going to see that Caustic's there, and they're just going to end up backing off. If you get it to the end game, the Nox Gas Grenade is going to be really, really useful too. But I agree. I don't think that we're going to see less Caustics going forward in NA as we push through the EMEA games. I think we're going to end up seeing more of them going forward. But again, you see completely different play styles from NA to EMEA. But it's been pretty exciting so far watching how this basically like heavyweight brawl is happening between all of these teams. So many little intricacies in the way that they're playing. But right now, it's all about getting over towards the middle of the zone. If you're taking, again, these edge fights, you're most likely going to get third-partied. Everyone's so skilled that unless it's a for sure win, and unless you can wipe that squad within 30 seconds, 45 seconds max, it's not worth taking that fight.
Yeah, finding those really good locations, those really good POIs to just kind of post up in seems to be the winning strategy 2 games out of 2 so far. We saw it in game number 1 where Reply Totem had a really good spot for a while until they ended up getting pushed out. We saw Gambit, of course, who took the win, had a really good spot down there. And then in game 2, it was kind of more of the same, a little bit more open towards the end because it kind of pulled away from Lava City. But teams that were able to find positioning in buildings really had an edge over those squads that had to run up on into the zone. And I guess it makes sense. It's intuitive to say that, but there are some teams that play better under pressure when they do need to push other teams out. And sometimes they themselves can then post up. I mean, we heard it yesterday from Onset and Gaskin. They called it the hermit crab strategy. When you just find another team, you push them out, you take over their home, and all of a sudden you're able to post up. And it seems like today it's definitely been a much more defensively focused one. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot more squads lasting round 5 and on. So it seems like Groups A and D have kind of turned up a little bit differently on the dial.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's a great point because of the fact that you really don't want to take any fight that you don't have to. And we talked about it earlier in game number 1. You don't want to be the first team to fight. You want to be the last team to fight. If you're the last team, that means that you won the game, right? So it's not about, hey, we're going to not fight. You can't win by not fighting. Just be smart. Pick and choose your battles and make sure that you're going to be confident in doing it. Sometimes, like you're saying, you could get into a pressure situation and that could make a diamond, and you could end up, winning a fight that you weren't supposed to because of the fact that you really do have to take that fight. But it's all about committing. And if you don't commit together and you show all 3 push into a bubble for a bubble fight, if one person's off page, if one person ends up taking too much damage, the script gets flipped really quick.
Yeah, and the stutter stepping in those micro decision moments really has been the difference maker. We talked about how some of the qualifier teams have been looking good, Dead Inside one of them, but No Fear, again, want to shout out how well that squad from Italy have been able to hang on time and again, getting a top 6 position. But it looks like we are ready up. Everybody was holding in the dropship, but we are moving on to World's Edge. Let's see where that zone pulls this time around, as we are going to be following 69IQ Esports out of the skies.
Really hoping for everyone's sake over towards the Skyhook side, it's going to be more central or more towards that north side. Maybe a fragment zone. That'd be pretty exciting. Maybe over towards that Harvester side too. But if it's something like Thermal Station, Launch Site, Lava City again, it's going to be very difficult to go and get these points. But I'm excited to see, again, how these teams are going to be able to do. Gambit took game number 1. 4Gang took game number 2. But Dead Inside, our most consistent team so far with 2 placements inside of the top 4. Excited to see how they're going to do going forward. A lot of points were taken up by Na'Vi and Nasky, Badoli and Dell in the previous game as well. So looking forward to seeing who's going to heat up. One of the teams you were looking forward to, Scars.
Absolutely. And you know, Tom, what my favorite zone to drop, or my favorite area to drop on World's Edge is?
Off the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens to me. But no, it's Overlook. I love when the circles pull that way because it just makes such incredible firefights. There's obviously not a lot of buildings except, of course, over in the POI itself. And it does mean there's just such hectic fights. But that is the place where Scars like to drop. They go a little bit further to the east. Unfortunately, for them, the circle won't pull in their favor. It is still more central than it has been. But look at what's dead in the middle there. Just a whole lot of hills.
Whole lot of hills, so it depends on where you want to go and hold here. You could go over towards that no-name side and then make your rotation over through there. But I would say going over towards one of the main fragment buildings, locking down one of the ones at the corner would be really huge. The choke, you can see one team moving over there already as another solid spot. Without any solid armors right now, Scars has to be a little bit concerned because they don't want to show. They do not want to go and take a fight right now and have a team push them based on their armor situation. Every little advantage counts. So you got to be careful here from here, and you got to make sure that you are evolving this EO shield before you go and make your play.
Yeah, didn't get a whole lot out of that first loot spot, but they should be able to find a little bit more here. Longbow going to be picked up by Mandy. And for the returning champions of EMEA, you know, a little bit of a slower start for this squad. We did talk about how that was kind of the case in their finals match as well. This is a team that they can absolutely flex play, but they prefer, when they can, to play on zone. And that does seem to be the metaphor today. So we'll see if they can get themselves into a healthy position as they are just making a slow move towards frag on the rotation.
And we've seen them pull rotations out of nowhere before, too, and do a pretty decent job. In game number 1, they put themselves in a pretty hard spot, but Manny did a great job on that Gibraltar. Unfortunately, he was taken down first on the team, and the rest of the players weren't going to be able to survive. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to be able to do with that positioning now, especially since they don't have really good armor. Meanwhile, Gambit Esports, team that took game number 1, making the rotation with some solid armor over here. You can see they're feeling pretty confident about the current situation. And also, we're seeing so many different combinations of weapons, but one thing's for sure, EVA 8 continuing to stay in the meta, and Longbow has been very popular today as well.
Yeah, you know, for opposite reasons, right? If you are trying to find those distance hits, the Longbow's certainly going to come in handy, but the EVA 8, man, up close and personal, it just is so absolutely deadly. And Gambit, I mean, I think the other team's going to be feeling, man, this isn't fair. 3 out of 3 times Gambit have been able to find an easy into the circle as they are just on the edge here of Lava Siphon. And, you know, I was wondering about this squad too. You know, sometimes when the map does change up, when we saw this squad in the EMEA championships, of course, this wasn't Lava Siphon. It was called Sorting Factory back then. So I was wondering maybe they would shift up their drop spot a little bit, but no, things definitely have stayed more or less the same with the shakeup on World's Edge.
It's just so central. It's also got high density of loot and really solid loot. You can just see based on the setup that they have, basically getting whatever that they wanted throughout all of that. Great armors, great weapon selections. One of the things that you will notice, though, they're not in any rush. If they are going to be playing the edge, they understand the situation. They have to continue to do so. And again, that's just so important to emphasize because you're wondering, hey, why aren't they worried about it? Well, they realize, hey, our positioning isn't really the best. Other teams are going to beat us there. Let's kind of pick where we're going to go, wait for other teams to rotate towards us, and try to get those kill points.
Yeah. Well, we were tracking Nemesis for just a second. That is the Seer team. But back to Navi, who picked up quite a lot on that last one. Do manage to find a crack somewhere across the way. As Max Strafe is scoped up on that longbow, just going to have to heal himself up a little bit as he certainly gave as good as he got, but unfortunately got a little bit more now. Bombardment's coming down across the way. There's that longbow effectiveness that you keep talking about.
Yeah, now you're going to see the charge rifle over here for Phoenix Legacy. It's, again, a really important weapon to have in terms of having a sniper rifle, charge rifle, longbow, anything. 30-30, one player on the team minimum, sometimes even more. You get to charge your Evo shield up, which is really key towards not even the beginning of the game, towards the tail end of the game, trying to get that red armor. There it is, getting that purple there and switching it right back on over. So Phoenix Legacy doing the right, correct plays here. One person with the long-range weapon, getting that farmed up and looking pretty good in terms of their positioning as well.
Yeah, you know what? I like this. This is really a development from Phoenix Legacy as they do manage to find quite a bit of damage out of the sky, but not quite cracking, not quite getting a knock or anything there. This is a team that in the qualifiers really struggled with knowing exactly when to poke. They were very passive. It's good to see them getting a little more aggressive here in this game.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know the charge rifle could hit for just 1 or 2 right there. I've never seen a 1
just
damage in my life right there, honestly. Maybe he's getting ripped off because how far that is. But either way, I thought he was very close to getting a knock right there. Great job from Arthur. Very close to getting that armor up to a purple, switch it on over who would need some armors. That's going to be Fig Vam, and look at that. Grays on top of Grays. Not feeling good about this situation, but in terms of the positioning, we talked about getting one of the priority buildings over towards Fragment West. This is the priority building to hold.
Yeah, it's really a lot of good news, bad news, right? All right, everybody, good news is we found like a super hot bit of real estate. The bad news is there's absolutely nothing in it. The fridge is empty. What are you going to do? All right, I guess we'll just try to hold up. We do have a caustic composition, so they can be able to hold this so long as the circle does favor them here on Fragment West. We'll see if they can get it done.
They're going to have a lot of teams going and challenging that, coexisting inside that building. You could have 3 teams in there. You could have teams outside of the building as well. It's going to start to get hot over there, and they're going to need to continue to, again, charge those evil armors up. We've seen multiple teams stuck on Grays, all planned. They're in a decent spot. They got Loba. They have the black market if they want to go and use that one. Again, playing over towards the zone. Not any fights quite yet here, and you can see all players remaining. It's a very slow game here in game number 3.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of nice and easy. You could just kick back, relax. I know Stella was talking about the popcorn. Maybe pop a second bowl if you are so inclined. And, you know, some serious loot already for all planned. You can see the Loba player already having the yellow armor and, you know, not looking too shabby in this one. That Loba definitely starts to get more and more valuable as you get later on into the game. The death boxes start flying as long as you can have a safe spot as they move over to Ridge here. Nemesis. The Seer team, I always want to see what this team can do. Seer can bring you so much information, but you still have to stay alive as they are trying to dodge, caught in the crossfire of a couple of squads. ZMB does get cracked, but he's going to have a shield back to heal up.
This is the problem when you go and push a little bit too late. A team comes in behind you, they're going to try to push you out, and then, like you said, the hermit crab strategy, try to filter them in and push them over towards the other team and pinch them and take their spot. Right now, Nemesis did a great job of staying alive. Good battery from ZMB, good cover from the rest of the team, and look at that, another team coming from the exact spot that they were.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a tense moment there as they try to hang on, backs against the wall. Looks like there's going to be some bombardment coming down, and the Seer ultimate comes through, so they will have access to all of that information should they need it here. See ZMB on the longbow, just waiting for the bubble to pop, and a few members on the low ground. This information is just so valuable, especially in these chaotic situations. Now they're going to be trying to gatekeep here on the edge, holding teams from getting out and into the circle, but they've already lost Clone. Nemesis down to 2.
That's a fight that you can't lose. The other team is on the run right now. If you're hitting these shots, if you're ZMB, that'd be huge, but portal plays have been used. You already have your Gibby down, so you're not going to have the bubble. I'm not quite sure if he had the defensive bombardment either, but I don't see how you're able to lose that fight when the other team is running into the zone. All 3 players split as well.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get their Gibby over through the portal. The problem is they're under heavy fire. This is going to be the Cat Boys that are actually on top of them right now. One of the squads, the last one to qualify in here on points. See if they're going to be able to close this one out. As the finisher goes through there, another bombardment, or rather the rocket barrage comes down. Cat Boys all healed up. This is a little bit rough here if you are Nemesis.
Not quite sure how they lost that fight. It must have been the longbow shots on top of the scout for the 3-2-1. Catboy is now on the run over here with 1 minute and 30 seconds. They have a lot of different options. They can Valkyrie redeploy. They can do a slow rotate over towards the back of Frag. There's a lot of different options, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if they tested all the waters. That's the time you go and make your play. There's no use of taking another uphill battle. Just make your rotation, make things a little bit easier, take your kill points while you can, and get out of there.
Yeah, so far, man, that kid at Longbow certainly doing some extra work here as we check back in with Scars EU tagging across the map. This one's a little bit quieter. So we saw some hectic moments. A couple of people dropped, but no squads eliminated just yet as we are getting closer and closer, about a minute under until we are into round 3.
This is the calm before the storm here. This is one of those instances where we did say that it's slow, but the slower the beginning of the game is just means the more explosive it's going to be in the middle and the tail end, because everyone's going to start layering on top of each other. Teams are going to start rotating over towards the chokes. Third parties on third parties are going to continue to happen. And you can see already a couple of teams setting up over here. I like this positioning, but you got to get over towards the high ground too eventually. So sitting inside of this trailer, it's nice, but you can see the Valkyrie saying, hey, guys, over here, focus them.
Sneaky crypto drone going to be trying to grab that information from above right now. And yeah, it's just really a big holdout. And the calm before the storm is a very apt way to put it, as out of the choke, it looks like Scars are going to announce their presence. That was a bit of a tough spot. I was going to talk about that little tunnel just outside Skyhook that heads south. Is just such a hard one if you get completely caught in the middle. There's really nowhere to go. Easy to get sandwiched, but Scars, they know what they're doing here. And man, this drone is just getting all the information.
right? Most valuable drone coming through over here. I really don't understand why it says that there's no teams around, though. I have a feeling that could be a little bit glitch. Maybe not.
Perfect, yeah.
As a crypto player, I know sometimes those banners don't really tell the truth. But either way, taking a look at what Mandy, RPR, and Tashin are doing, laying down some cover fire on a Valkyrie redeploy over towards the side, but they have their work cut out for them. They are basically stuck between two teams without having the high ground.
Yeah, this is a little bit tough right now. Getting up there would be a little difficult because they're just being tracked by a couple of squads. Taishin does take a little bit of punishment as the shield here. Unfortunately, Mendy gets cracked, and it looks like he might have dropped down here. I think that's Zeta Division on the opposite side, and Taskmaster on this Lobo with the L-Star just lighting them up here, forcing the Gibby bubble out.
Very nicely done. L-Star so useful even after that small nerf there, but we knew that Scars was in a tough spot based on the player outlines. It's going to continue to get even more tough here as you're going to see Taskmaster going Lobo back on in with the bracelet, getting out of dodge as Scars does get Mandy back up somehow, and they are alive for now, though. I would love to see them do some sort of redeploy. Maybe Mandy could wait for his bubble to come back up, and they could have some sort of miraculous play, but right now it's all about staying alive until you can do something.
And it sounds like we do have a listen in from Scars. Let's see what the comms are like right now.
I'm batting.
I'm on Mandy, good spot.
Okay. He's ahead of me.
My spot is crazy.
I'm coming back. Are you sure it's crazy? This thing can kill you, no?
They're not shooting. It's good for now. It's good for now anymore. Nothing else we can play. I got bad. Alright, I got what's it called. Yeah, we should get what's the top soon. How long?
The choke, right? 30% on portal. Break this fucking drone. They're above us. They're in the tunnel above us.
Yeah. They are above us.
Hello, Hello is good on me.
Last cell.
30% on the port, bro. Broke it. I have 2 cells and a bat, boys.
I have 1 cell and a bat. Is there only one guy up there?
Yeah, I think so, but we can't do anything about it. I've broken another drone.
I'm using my bat now.
Dropping your Phoenix. They ported on us?
They ported up top, probably.
Yeah, they did.
Where the fuck do we play?
Okay.
Do we just stay here or what?
20%. Just chill here. We are lost them.
Yeah, we can play this also.
I want to get to the choke. They're fighting in the choke. They're fighting in the choke. We could third party it maybe.
Yeah, run up behind them here or what?
Yeah. They're fighting really hard. I'm gonna wait for my porting. I'm porting right here, and we're gonna full ape, I think.
Okay.
Because we need meds. We can't survive this if we don't have meds.
I have 1 cell. That's it. Same.
I have 2 cells and a bat. 5%. They're trading hard.
They're gonna hit hard.
All right, those are the calls of a championship team right there. Definitely staying calm under pressure, although you could hear a little bit of the frustration there, T-Square. Break the drone. Clearly, they don't want next day delivery.
Frustration. I heard a couple other F words too. We gotta close your ears if this, the young ones, because this is intense. Scars understanding the situation. They're out of cells. They're out of utility. They have to make plays now. Taishin, he is gonna have to use his last cell, and it may be them going for the fight on the high ground. There is a nice thermite there. It doesn't connect as they were hoping for. But once they go and use that portal, they realize, wait, we can't go and take this fight. The teams are watching us. The portal just didn't come up in time, and now they're gonna be stuck at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, you can see Zeta Division still really on the tracking right now as it does seem like this is starting to open up, but it looks like Taskmaster got dropped. Another drone coming up, giving us a bird's eye view of all the firefights going back and forth. And meanwhile, your boys Gambit over here on this other side of the ridge, just going to be able to stay nice and safe. Scars are going to res RPR inside the Gibby bubble. Got to be careful. Not a whole lot of armor remaining, and there are just lots of bombardments falling down time after time. Zeta Division, they tried to hang on, but unfortunately, they will drop. Just got a little bit too hot inside that house, and FigVam lit them up.
That's big because you also have the black market inside there, so you continue to get any type of meds that you're going to go and need. The high ground, for no fear, is exactly where Scars wanted to be, but it just got taken from them a little bit too early. Hopping on board with the CJ France. This is that calm before the storm that we're talking about, Pyro. All hell breaking loose on World's Edge.
Oh, I think we're seeing some thunderclouds right now, T-Squared. 14 squads remaining as this is just going to get hotter and hotter as time goes on. Cité France really seeming to always play around the edge, and these games are going to try and light this one up into the scope of the R301. Very nice play there. And they will be able to buy themselves a moment's respite, but only just as they have to throw down a couple of missiles here and pop a couple shield batteries in the meantime. Lagger here on this Gibby looking to frontline as the thermite goes down. On the opposite side, we do see Caught, the other squad here, and Are they going to be able to take them out of this one? It's hard to find the opener. Deathbox is left, right, and center. One remaining, can't quite do it. And oh my goodness, all the 2 steps in the world weren't going to save you there, Fuzu. And that will be the drop.
Great shots right there from the EVA, winning back-to-back fights too. This is what happens in these instances. Again, everyone's been coexisting for quite some time. As soon as one team that's in a desperate situation needs to take a fight, all the rest of the teams are going to pounce on that one. Multiple squads are being taken down. 30 seconds to this zone moves, and right now, Season of France feeling themselves on the edge of the zone.
They really are riding that momentum, baby. Let's go. Healing themselves up. Good syringe here in for Joker as he has that yellow armor, but was already previously cracked. And as they just round the edge of Fragment West here, a lot of death boxes, a lot of loot to pull from. 11 squads left. You wouldn't know it just looking at the back and forth action. It would seem like almost everybody was dead, but there are several more squads remaining here as the Cite de France surely find out as the high ground bullets coming in.
When you play the edge, this is what you have to do. You have to bully these teams on the outside. Once you're the king of the hill on that outside, you can go and push in and find a little bit of safe haven. That's exactly what they do. Very well timed. That rock is going to be very useful for them going forward. I think that they're going to be able to survive definitely inside the top 10, hopefully in the top 5 for their fans and for their sake, because they are having a pop-off game so far.
Yeah, no fear though, of course, finding themselves a veritable god spot. Just so many openings, so much high ground here. Gambit as well, trying to open up a little bit of fire. It looks like they're finding Navi. Max Strafe already getting knocked in that one. And man, Artico on a longbow, what can't this man do?
Right now, he needs to get into the zone, though. They're going to be holding this down for quite some time until this thing starts to close out. Like you said, he's hitting shots left, right, and center with this longbow. It's going to be a defensive bombardment into a bubble play, most likely, as the zone is starting to chunk them away.
You're going to have to go onto the low ground now and into the caustic gas they go. Bubble is going to be up, trying to use this care package, and is just an all-out firefight right now to try and claim by right of conquest. But Gambit will go out in 8th place, and things are hectic here as Future Perfect find out. They drop in to claim the spoils. Meanwhile, no fear, they're just going to shoot some fish in a barrel as they have themselves a really good spot going forward. Future Perfect managed to survive this one and grab all the loot.
So unfortunate that that high ground area was not in the zone. They could have picked up so many kills through all of that. Meanwhile, Guild picking up some kills as well. That's a nice squad wipe over towards the side. 6 squads remaining, seem to be all full as well as the zone pulls out over towards the middle. That's going to be so big for our Gibraltar teams. Whoever has defensive bombardments and whoever has their bubble going down last is most likely going to win this zone. Guild continuing to add pressure, though.
Yeah, we saw in game 1, Guild had a really unfortunate play where they just couldn't quite clear out of those trenches, but this time around, finding themselves in the top 5 squads. And it looks like I think Scars might have dropped in that one. Want to double check it. I'm not seeing them on the map. So, EMEA returning champs, they are going to be out in 6 if that's correct. Meanwhile, Guild, no time to pause for that one. Waiting at the Gibby bubble here as we are getting into the final round in less than half a minute. And open the open ground. Unfortunately, Stilt is finding himself lit up for just a second. Gonna have to portal down.
I like that phase out right there. You don't really know what's going to happen. Plus, your phase should come back while the zone's going to be moving too. So if you're going to use it, you might as well use it now while you are in danger. Let's see it in France, though. Look at that. The zone did pull over towards where that rock was. If they can continue to play the slow edge of this one and just push up, this could be more kills and a phenomenal game for them. Game number 3. We still have 3 more to go after this. And let's see it in France trying to get on that top of the leaderboard.
Man, for every single time we've seen the circle pull away from where they like to go, the Cite de France have just absolutely legged it, making their way into circle after circle after circle, letting themselves play zone and not getting wiped out, finding themselves in the top 5 here. Now we see the rest of the squad still moving forward, a lot of bombardments coming down, and it's going to be 3rd parties, 4th parties, heck, maybe even a 5th. As we get into this one, Guild just trying to weather the storm as their own bubble. Thermites flying right now as they try to light it up on the high ground, finding some damage. And that's going to be Matafe actually dropped here by Future Perfect. But meanwhile, everything is going crazy, and Guild are going to leave it all on Horizon to try and hold on. It's the Cite de France looking just so darn good right now. Final round coming in soon, T-Squared.
Apex is all about, again, picking and choosing your battles. The Cite de France plays hyper-aggressive, then they play passive-aggressive over here towards the side, let all the teams fight, come through, picking up the kills along the way, and now they have a huge advantage going forward.
Figdam's going to be one of those top 3 teams as well. They've quietly stacked this one up. Pew Pew and Senvels are just doing a great job here. Not as much use for the caustic in the open ground, but it doesn't matter right now as they are going to be able to take down Shex in that one. And down to 2 squads remaining. It's going to be them and Le Cite de France. Let's see if they can hold out in this one. FigVam, unfortunately, looking a little bit rough right now. And as the last one, it's going to be down to Xander with the gas. Can he hold it? No! Le Cite de France will take game number 3.
Rightfully so. I mean, they did such a good job coming from the fragment side choke, making their way over down towards the edge of the zone right there, picking up kills after kills, squad wipe after squad wipe. I can't wait to see how many points they had overall in that game.
It is insane how well this squad played, and we talked about how the Cite de France were just a consistent performer. We've seen them on several circuits in the previous year of the ALGS, and they certainly prove why they belong here. Well played to take game number 3, and we've seen different squads step it up here, T-Squared. I think this one's going to get tight.
Really just a masterclass on how to play the edge of the zone right there, because of the fact that you have to go and take these fights, you have to win these fights, you have to earn your right to go and push over there, but you want to try to finish that off, because a lot of times when you play in the middle of the zone, you're just going for those placement points. You're trying to get your kill points towards the tail end of the game. Well, Le Cite de France, they did such a good job and they were rewarded so well that they're able to play passive towards the tail end of the game. Again, keeping all that action from them, zone covering their back, and other teams overextended and got distracted from where Le Cite de France was. They were sitting behind a rock that anybody could have focused them. Instead, they kept low key, they kept their presence hidden, and they come up with a big game.
14 KP. I think that might be maybe not necessarily the record for today, but it's certainly getting close. And Le Cite de France, yeah, you talked about being able to play passive and being able to play aggressive, and switching that switch so quickly is important. Le Cite de France showing a masterclass on how to do it around the edge and how to get into zone when teams on the high ground were just raining hell upon them. FigVam, great job for this team to be able to survive into second place, and no fear again with a high placement. This Italian squad is just performing game after game after game, and it's impressive to see.
I think they're just fuming and fuming off of Andy Jackson, that 1 HP clutch. Once you see that from your teammates' perspective, it has to get the blood flowing. You have to get excited about that, and you have to have fun when you're going and playing Apex. No better chance to go and showcase all of that talent and skill that you've been putting in ranked and inside those scrims, inside other tournaments as well, than the ALGS stage in the Pro League here in Season 2. So great job by all of our teams. But right now, I think everyone has to be a little bit concerned on who's going to stop Le Cite de France.
Yeah, talk about laggers certainly playing on very, very low ping, you would have to think. Excellent job pulling up the MVP on that Gibby, but the entire squad coming up huge on the damage. And Le Cite de France, you know, they just went through an absolute gauntlet of squads and earned every inch of ground that they covered. Incredible play from this squad. We've seen them, honestly, stay alive for a good amount of time, but that was the first time they really came alive. And I think other teams in this lobby are going to have to watch out.
Definitely. One thing you got to watch out for is Stella coming back. We got to make room in this dropship because we need our captain of the ship coming through. Welcome back, Stella.
Hi. So first of all, Tom, I don't appreciate you attacking me and my team that I was voting for while I was off camera. So we're going to have to hash that out later. All right. So thank you for inviting me back, guys.
If you're going to be on our team, make sure you unmute your mic, Stella. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. I was going to say we're going to have to hash this out later. All right. So I really want to talk about that last match. What an incredible end zone. That was a lot of chaos, but Le Cite de France, which I hope I'm saying right, showcased their skills at playing like a really good team together. And I really want to say Apex is really a game about capitalizing on team mistakes. And in that sort of end circle, where everyone is out in the open, if you're the first team to make a play, you are going to get punished for that. And Le Cite de France did such a good job of just sitting back and letting all these teams make mistake after mistake, and they just swept through the lobby. So Tom, guide us through some of the best things that you saw Le Cite de France do towards the end circle.
I really am impressed with the way that they were able to win their fights and then also win the third-party fights that came up. As we take a look at some of the highlights from game number 1, we've seen amazing plays, not many mistakes here and there. Just a matter of everyone playing Apex the way that it should be, and who's going to put themselves in the best position, who's going to communicate, and have that on-the-fly thinking to make adjustments.
Yeah, it's incredible performance from a number of these squads. We are obviously looking at Gambit, who won that game number 1, and it's just these micro decisions, because you can plan all day, you can get yourself into positioning, the zone can favor you, but at the end of the day, you have to execute, and man, Hardeki gave us such a masterclass in game number 1. No Fear Gaming coming up really clutch as well, just consistently performing. I think we're going to see a lot of these guys in our highlight reel at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I would be disappointed if we didn't. And I actually have to point out, there haven't been many Bloodhounds that we've seen at all.
Actually,
not in EMEA.
I don't think any.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about that. Again, we were in such a, in my opinion, a little bit of a stale spot in terms of just the scan on top of scan, and everyone needs to know where each other is. These fights right here just look so much more interesting to me because no one really knows exactly where you're going to go and approach the fight from. And that's what these players, like you said, just have little micro decisions to go and make. I agree, Pyra. It's all about making those little adjustments, all about those micro decisions. Here, we have the Lava City zone where all the teams just coexisting, stacking on top of this building. Overall, though, we had big games from 4Gang. Nasky, Dolly, and Dell. Navi came in third with 15 points, and Dead Inside, again, another top 4 performance here in 4th place.
Yeah, really impressive across the board, just really stacking up as many of those KP as possible. And, here's the game that we just saw unfold. This is where we will get to see Le Cité France really shine off of it. Zeta Division, of course, kind of finding themselves a little hot here at the 15th place mark. And you think, all right, we got the RV, we got the Loba, everything's great. Uh-oh, we just got aped. What can you do?
Yeah, I just want to say all of these teams have such quick reaction time. And the fact that EMEA lobbies seem to be way more bloodthirsty makes all these games such high octane energy. I absolutely love it.
This is that moment where Le Cité de France turn the tides of their game. Again, winning that fight over towards the side and then winning this third-party fight is what really gets their confidence going. You realize now, hey, if we're winning all of these fights like this without losing any players, we have to continue to play like this, and we could really put up a big score. That's what you see right there from Le Cité de France. They were able to continue that pace. They came through, win the edge fights, and then they get rewarded with a huge game. I think 26 points is what we just saw for them in game number 3. So we're going to have a very close leaderboard.
Yeah, I was going to say, they played that so well. And again, that broken train yard area, it's just so open. So there's not really a lot of room you can go around in there, but they played that so well. I mean, Pyra, what... Did you expect that end circle? Like, I don't know. What do you do when you're in that situation?
No, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody can. You're like, all right, well, there's just so much open ground. There's a couple high points, and then you're pretty much just trying to hide behind the rocks or get the high point on the hill, which is what Le Cité France did. Let's take a look at our overall leaderboard right now. No fear, because they've been so consistent, they actually captured the top spot 1 point above Gambit Esports. Oof. And we saw Le Cité France step it up. But right now, that's still only enough to get them into 4th place. That's still very close. I mean, you look at these squads, how close they are in the points. A couple of kills is going to change it. And then, of course, 4Gang down there in 5th, tied with Nasky, Ollie, Dell, and Dead Inside. I mean, these are all teams that are stepping it up. The top 10 is going to get real tight.
Yeah, okay, first of all, 4Gang, that logo is so cute. I can't stop looking at it. But yeah, Tom, Tom, how do you feel seeing your Gambit Esports team at 2nd, only 1 point away from tying with 1st?
I think that this is exactly where they should be. I think they've always been one of the strongest teams in the EMEA region. It's nice to see them kind of show up on tournament day as well. But you have to give credit again to Le Cité de France for such a big game because it kind of came out of nowhere. You could see they jumped 13 spots overall. They were struggling on points. They basically had 3 or 4 points going into that game. What that does now, if you're on that right-hand side, that has to give you confidence and say, hey, if we're going to do it, we have to do it now. There's only 3 more games remaining. We're at our halfway point. It's also time to maybe consider making adjustments. You practice to get to this point, but maybe just mini adjustments. Maybe it's just a pathing of your loot, or maybe it's just one legend getting switched out for another. But if you are struggling, you have to take that from LCD's side and say, hey, if they can do it, we can do it too. Let's not hang our heads low quite yet.
Yeah, I want to say, so you said something about changing up your techniques and stuff. Would you say that legend changes might be in the works? But because I don't know, I feel like Valkyrie is obvious. I've seen people use less of Octane to move into these fights quickly, and I'm surprised that you can be just as aggressive on Valkyrie. So what would you say that they would change if they were to change anything on their team?
It's tough. Maybe it's just saying, hey, let's communicate more. There has to be something if you're on the right-hand side. If it doesn't happen again after the halfway point, you have to start not really questioning yourself, but thinking, what are we doing wrong? What can we do better? And sometimes it could just be a mini play. In terms of legends, I really don't know who you could swap Valkyrie for unless it's something that you've really ran with the team because she's just such a strong legend. Yeah,
the repositioning is just so valuable. And Pyro, do you have any guesses on what they might change up if they do?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it really is just maybe like they want to mix up the drop spot a little bit because the circles have pulled a little bit further away from some of these squads. Setting up a POI early in zone helps. I mean, obviously that's a bit difficult when you practice something else, but I think the legends are probably fine. So let's take a look at what we've got. Excuse me, we actually tagged over there into our full groups, but yeah, I think it's just micro adjustments really, not so much in the legend changes.
Okay, cool. So now that we're all talking about this, I want to see what you, the viewers and the community, had to say about the first few games so far. I'm so excited to see these tweets. Let's see. Her Tan3 says, haven't been this hyped for an event in ages. Let's go. Hashtag SC win. Hashtag ALGS. Yes, same team. Absolutely. Looks like how do you say that? HPI?
I'm gonna go with Effie. Effie?
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
There's a little Halloween, a little jack-o'-lantern. I'm just, the jack-o'-lantern emote is really what got my attention.
I love it. And then Sathi says, when you get a text out your housemate telling you to shut up because you're screaming over the ALGS. Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Listen.
Yeah, I gotta go tell my roommate I'm in the middle of stuff. My bad. Anyway.
Yes, so if you guys want your tweets to be featured, and your pets too, don't forget to follow Apex Legends on Play Apex Esports on Twitter, Play Apex Esports on YouTube, where we actually have an incredible 4K quality broadcast, and of course, right here at Twitch at Play Apex. So, all right, we're gonna have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have James and Vicky casting your next few games. Don't go anywhere.
Il push, avancez.
Ok. Je suis parti de l'autre côté. Valkyrie dans le coin. Crac, Valkyrie. Regarde. Top 2, face. Reste. Low. Crac encore.
Nice! Let's go, ça! Let's game, sa mère! Let's go! Archi propre, ça! Let's fucking go!
PGL is the official broadcast partner of the Apex Legends Global Series NA and EMEA Pro League.
A great game from Le Cité de France. However, something we're lacking at the moment is a strong performance from Scars. We have been very expectant of them in this tournament so far, but they're kind of languishing in 12th place at the moment in the second half of the leaderboard. Do you think they can do something in this game, Vicky?
I don't know. It's so difficult. Looking at the competition right now, I'm looking at No Fear Gaming, who has been on the top despite them not winning games yet. I mean, right now, EMEA is looking so hard. I'm thinking now that T-Squared, he, again, has the script because Gambit Esports has been one of the most consistent teams that we've seen for today.
Yeah, they certainly have been. We saw, talking of Le Cité de France, we saw some really good use of space from them in that previous game. Of course, in the very end, just lurking, just like making the angles awkward enough where you got to spend a lot of time trying to find them, and you've got so much action in front of you, and then they just jump on you and seize what they want to afterwards. They did it in multiple places, as we saw in the replays. So that has been key in the late games here for some different teams who have won in these games so far. But maybe that's something we need to see from Scars if they can get that far. C'est parti, as the French would say. It is time to hop out of the dropship for game number 4.
Yeah, wasting no time here. I really like to highlight Le Cité de France, who actually has Lagger on their roster, the Gibby who was the kill leader before, who has replaced Psychop, who was their original Wraith main. So having Jovi 2 be on that Wraith pick and kind of adapting to that role has really allowed this team to shine. And that's why looking at the talent right now of a lot of these teams in the EMEA region is so crazy to me, because it's so refreshing to not only see the different types of legends being used, but also seeing the skill level for a lot of these teams coming really close.
Where is the third player here? Sometimes we can see a bug, but I only see 2 players landing for this team. That would be extremely unfortunate if they were handicapped at the very beginning, but we'll see if that situation changes or if they will be up the creek with no proverbial paddle. Meanwhile, we can see 4 gang. They've got some purple already. Great start for Legit Lolly, but I'm sure the others will want to get off grey. As I say that, we can see some more purple. Loving the splash of colour for 4 gang early.
Love to see it. Being able to get that early purple allows you to get into these early fights, and 4gang doing really good, especially after that last performance that we had seen in game 2 where they took the entire game with 20 points. So far, I would like to say Le Cité de France has been the only team to have the most points ending in that victory, but still, consistency is key here. We can see where the circle is actually going to get pulled towards that northern side, closer to Overlook, actually. Pyro's not here, but Pyro's actually talking earlier about how a lot of that action goes down when you have these circles pulled towards the Overlook area.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what will happen there. I've had some interesting south plays earlier on, but we'll see who this favors. Maybe so far for some of the teams who maybe suffered in the previous game, so we'll see if they can. That'll make a difference for some players. And again, speaking of the color and the armor, 4gang in a pretty good spot now. And the trials being done for 69 IQ. Not often you see one of them getting punched in the face, but so far so good.
Nice, yeah, and they got the gold backpack, they got the purple Evo shield, and the gold helmet on top of everything. Oh my goodness, Megito is gonna be very happy, very happy about that. And not only that, also gonna be able to rep the gold helmet is gonna allow him to throw down that dome and not have that cooldown that he has to worry about, as it is gonna reduce it.
Vicky, so smeg is a very English thing. Do you know what smeg is? Do you know what a smegito might be?
I don't know. It sounds strange to me.
It sounds like he's probably got some kind of fungal infection. So
that's what I was thinking. I was like, what?
I wouldn't get anywhere close to his feet, shoes on or off. No, I'm staying away. 2 meters for you, so.
Just staying far away from you. Of course, repping that 69 IQ as they are going to be rotating out of trials. Of course, now we're going to be able to take a look at our other squad here. And I like how they're in no name, because then we noted, of course, that they have the idea of where that circle is going to get pulled. They already scanned that beacon by no name, and they're going to be able to make these smart rotations already from the very beginning part of the game.
Yeah, Badoli had some trouble in the previous game getting downed early, but so far so good, all blue. And we've got another clip from this team to look at.
The best player in competitive Apex, if I'm not allowed to choose my teammates, it would definitely be Strafey. Strafey is always confident. Strafey never has bad games. He can frag, he can get openings, he can do callouts. He can literally do anything a player can do, and he is definitely the best player in Apex, I think.
No pressure, Strafey. I don't know. I feel like if I was a player on one of these teams, I might just think of like who would buckle under pressure the most if I pick their name and just pick that person's name. You know, that's just the kind of person I am, you know. But we'll keep an eye on Strafey and see if we can have that performance that Gnaski is hopefully looking for every team but themselves, of course.
Yeah, no pressure at all, of course, just being able to scout around. But this is also something interesting. We've heard T-Squared, and we heard Pyro talk about it earlier, where the Bloodhound has not been used. We've been seeing way more of these cryptos. We have the Valkyrie scans that only come out when you have that redeploy, you're coming out of a jump tower. And it's so interesting to see how that's kind of shifted in this direction after we were so used to seeing Bloodhound for so long. And I love to see this different diversity. Of course, we're going to see Natus here going to have the redeploy, and they're going to be able to scan some of Fragment before they make their way over to Overlook, and also to note that they are going to have that scan as they make their way over to note where some of these spots have already rotated to.
Yeah, I always think that some of these Valk landings can be very, very scary indeed, but that's a pretty clean one from Nav. You can't ask for much more than that. But some of these drops we saw earlier in these previous games tended to be quite painful, but they put themselves in a good position for now. I don't think there's a fuse in this lobby because these little vehicles can be extremely brutal if you are subject to a fuse, as we saw yesterday. Maybe we'll have more of the action once these groups start playing each other, but for now, Na'Vi are just chilling.
Yeah, that, and you also consider the Nox gas that Caustic teams could just force you out of this area. It's very scary. So even if you're not worried about the fuse in this situation, you still have to worry about a lot of these Caustics that have been coming out in these lobbies. Of course, with the Valk, Gibby, and Caustic being something that we've seen so frequently as the meta has shifted in that direction. Now, this is the team that just won the last game. They're carrying some of that momentum, of course, going into the halftime of the EMEA region, as they are going to make that portal rotation. And I like this play because they're also trying to get some intel where some of these squads may be at the edge of circle where they want to make their way over to exactly where Le Site de France is sitting at.
All 60 players up for now. We saw some early drops in the previous games, but this one may turn out to start a little slower. I don't mind that myself because the more teams are in the later rings, the more painful it is and the more carnage we can see very, very quickly indeed. These elevated positions, like we're seeing here from Scars, those can be a problem for the teams that are up there, depending on like the positions teams have around and what kind of snipers we have. Previously, it was more dominant in the last game, I feel like, but I've seen people just get completely peppered there, get their shields absolutely shredded with nowhere really to go, and I'm looking for that to happen later on as well, because you know, for my personal amusement, but. We see a crypto ulti, and we might start to get our first players dropped here now as it's a big exchange with Zeta Division in some trouble.
Oh, and the Arc Star's coming out too. It's forced to be able to get out of there. As Loba, you could just move your bracelet, take it out, and just be able to get to the back cart. They were forced to back off, but look at this pressure that we are seeing right now. You talk about the high-end action and a lot of these factory reactions towards these squads getting a straight Baymage at the very first opportunity, and you're seeing it happen right now, the moment this squad landed on them with the Valkyrie.
I do wonder if we'll see some grenades coming into this position now, as it is not the most ideal for Zeta Division. Going to be feeling a little vulnerable now. They've got the low barrel up, though, to find themselves some more supplies. And there's another crypto just to continue. It was, I feel like seconds ago, we saw the last crypto ulti. And there's just another one just to drain the supplies. Just burn those shields down once again.
It makes me wonder, was that an ult accelerant that was used, or was that another crypto squad that has made their way over to this part of the map? Zeta Division are trying to get more intel as they're forced to look at their backs, and this is kind of the risk that you run when you're forced to just hang out in this cart. They do have the Loba for utility, but when you have Impulse running an R9 and a Mozambique, that's how you know that Zeta Division is in some trouble.
Yeah, they can't be comfortable with Sunset on the great armor, but we're going to have a listen in and see what's going on with their comms right now.
Свап спиздить у них. Подсасывать? Ну, вроде вот тут склад стоит какой-то, который вышел по итогу на нас.
Сзади, по-моему?
Где?
А, я показал.
Могут тут стоять.
Нам бы прогнать их по итогу.
Да, Гиба стоит.
А никто ульчардж не брал, который вот был?
Кракнул еще одного.
Ты их кракаешь, да? Пускай.
Гиба пятнул, да. Да.
Нейт, сколько у вас?
Две термитки.
Ну, хорошо, просто ЕМП и нейдами их убиваем. Хотите с первого же трая? Все готово у вас? Все есть?
Нет, 25%.
Просто я вон туда. Я могу слева угла взять, с этого камня.
Я, наверное, реально, бери слева угла. А у тебя есть нейдилов?
А мы вот сюда закинем. Дай нам.
Закинешь тогда снаружи. Закинь
дай
снаружи.
нам, дай мне одну. Тебе надо всего одну туда будет закинуть, скорее всего. Я закину две.
Когда мне это делать, ребят?
Закидывай и стреляй.
Под ЕМП.
Когда ЕМП появится. И дай мне нейду одну.
Окей.
Ты же стрелять все равно начнешь после одной нейды.
Two Russians and a Belarusian in Impulse on the Zeta squad. Interestingly, if you ever go to Belarus and you've got to buy what do you call it? The visa at the airport, they'll only accept clean, crisp notes. You've got any notes with creases on, they will just absolutely not accept it. And they're going to have a big fight again. Got some defensive strategy here. We've got the ultis coming through and the domes up as well, trying to fight for position. And we're seeing our initial downs now. Two of the Zeta France have been dropped, and they're going to be holding on by a thread in the meantime. Zeta Division just raiding all the supplies.
Do they take pressure here for some payment? Because right now, that is looking so intense, and I like this position that they're holding, just waiting for them to get attacked by that other squad that just moved in for the third party, and now they're going to capitalize off of the situation. We're seeing right here two players that are extremely low at the back end of that cart. The Zeta France, they recognize the situation, they back off, and they even have the portal if they want to manage to come right back into that fight without overextending.
Yep, they've moved back to safety now. Very quickly indeed, and just as quick, we've lost two of the squads now. And it was a slow start, but we can see all the boxes in that position, and Cleaner just up top getting those thermites in there. I spoke about the grenades earlier, and they're coming through now. See who's surviving in that position soon. The action starts to pick up here.
Honestly, not surprised here to see so many squads rotating in this direction. Of course, we already noted that the circle was pulling in the direction of Overlook. So with a lot of these squads now making their way from the western part of the map, they have to figure out how to get to this choke point now, James. And it's going to be a lot of action. And this is Zeta Division who are in trouble. Impulse only having the blue EO shield. He gets deleted. They don't even give him the chance to slide away. What do you even do in that situation? You were the lone wolf standing here, and you couldn't even put down your dome, because then that would have just indicated to the team that they could just fully send it if you even had it at that point.
Man, they got straight 30-30'd. Not an easy gun to use, but it stings like an STI, as some of these players may be feeling. Headshots, no less. Utterly deleted Zeta. So we won't get to talk about them much until the next game comes around. But yeah, if you're ever in Minsk, Belarus, you better have the crisp notes for the visa office. Otherwise, they'll send you to the cash point. I know from experience.
So I was wondering, looking at the action going down, I mean, do they just accept that pressure too? This is actually insane, seeing a lot of this contention from these squads. Fort Gang, again, this is the same squad that managed to take game number 2 with 20 points. I like their positioning right now. You can see how they're just kind of scouting out behind them to know any other squads trying to rotate from epicenter. And here over at No Name, the Beaming Witch, the L-Star. This gun, again, time and time again, not only showing its consistency, but how deadly this gun feels when it feels like you're on the other side of a microwave.
Young Money Guild. Haven't seen too much of them on camera just yet, so we'll see what they're able to do. Just getting their Loba back into position, who will pop the Phoenix now. Some pressure with the Valkyrie Q. Good for information as well, if you want a rough idea of where people may be. That light damage can just be a little bit of crucial intel for you.
It's so helpful too, especially with a lot of these squads either running the Sentinel, Longbow. We even saw the Charge Rifle right now putting in some damage, but they have the Valkyrie redeploy just to reposition since they are pretty far from circle. But that, of course, that Valkyrie deploy comes with some pressure, comes with the risk of you landing and putting yourself in a way worse position than before if you were just a slow rotate. I like how a lot of these squads are now just kind of restabilizing after some of these fights. We're seeing some kills go down, but it's still a rather slow game where a lot of these squads are just trying to find a safer way to get into the circle.
Yeah, 69 IQ. Currently third from bottom on the leaderboard, if I'm not mistaken, and they'll be looking to have a better effort here. And we're going to see some action from that building earlier on as Smegito makes his way around the portal. There's a big flank from him. Huge damage with the flatline. Nice drop there, and that allowed him to clean out their opponent in that building, and that's some much-needed KP for them, and now Clean have got some work to do.
They're cleaning up right now. They have to look out. His Dolphin's the one down, so they won't really have the Gibby Dome after he's already used it anyways. They're just trying to safely get into a corner, but so much pressure going out. They're going to fully send it. Not only they get one down, but they find 2 breaks. Unlucky. Is it going to be able to be lucky enough to survive that? And the Gibby Bombardment to be the nail in the coffin has just forced Nux to get out of the situation. He recognized he's only got the Blue Evo shield. He's limited on health. Doesn't look like he's got much of a choice as he has to forcibly abandon his teammates. Maybe put a portal off to the backside so maybe he could try to secure that banner.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a rescue, but it'll only be one of the players at best, as Unlucky is no longer with us, but maybe the banner can be rescued a little later on.
He's gonna go through the portal? Alright, no, he's good, he's good. Alright, so Nox is gonna be able to go back. He wants to get that banner, but at risk of this squad that is holding the portal, I don't think it's gonna really be possible here, James.
Yeah, they may have a minute to consider going back for it, but it may not be worth it as all these players are hungry for more KP, so there may be some banner camping going on. We can see in red the teams that have been eliminated already. Fig Bam, which always makes me think of Fig Jam. They're gone, and but there's quite a few teams remaining. 14, in fact, as the Mastiff tries to get to work here for Phoenix Legacy. They've got 2 players on the floor, make it 3. Get the body bags, they're in boxes, they're out of here. And now there's 12 squads remaining. Big fights on the bridge now as we've got teams dancing around these domes, trying to avoid the Arc Stars, trying to get away. But even just peppering that Valk boost can sometimes just leave you as a sitting duck for your opponents.
Ooh. It does.
Yeah, go on.
Well, sorry, just seeing the way that Clean has been playing so far, it just also being as patient as they have been, despite losing their third, they even get the respawn coming out, James, and that was just the perfect timing because the team that was actually pressuring them, Phoenix, had gotten third party because they were making so much noise and they didn't finish that fight fast enough in a lobby that has such high stakes on the line right now.
Yeah, you don't want to be the elephant at the dog show, just getting all the attention in a lobby like this. So persistence pays off and Clean get Unlucky back into the game. Quick upgrade, needs to pop a bat to fill that armor, but looking good for now. They've been playing around this ice for quite a while now. Straight on the long pro, prioritizing the opportunity, but he's got to get his shields up. He's got 2 cells at the moment. There's a quick swap for him. IT1 to the next Evo, not too shabby there. So we'll see if Clean, well, they've got to get their skates on actually. They were in the zone for quite a while, but as we can see, that circle is starting to close and they need to look for their next move.
Yeah, Valkyrie does get that ult rather quickly, but not going to be quick enough here. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock, and you're only at nearly 25%. Meanwhile, 4Gang, they seem to be in some trouble. Can the PK be enough? The knockdown shield, can they clutch it out? No! They do get the knock, but the gold backpack now coming in from Slayers as another squad has now managed to rotate in their direction. The crypto drone also giving them the intel that they are getting that res.
Okay, great tracking from 4Gang, but too little too late there. Cut to absolute shreds, and starting to wonder how far Clean can go in this game now. On the edge of the next ring at present, keeping an eye on what's around them, and they've got some rocks to play with. Getting their armor back up again. We're seeing a huge bombardment here and people on the floor begging for mercy, but there's not often mercy to find in a situation such as this. Getting res just by an open door. We'll see if that works out for them. In the meantime, dancing around a care package is not the most ideal situation, but the dome is up just in time. And maybe it can get some heals off.
I'm just seeing a whole circus happening right here. We saw like 4 blue Evo shields just hiding in a corner for these quick shield swaps. Oh, the Valkyrie deployed right in front of their face. Oh, that was so risky when they had already used the dome. I was not expecting that to be the play here when Guild Esports not only has all 3 members still on the field, but they're still putting in this pressure while holding this ground without being contested. Now getting this knock here, Horizon, they're going to take that. They still got some Evo shields, it seems like, for the shield swap if they really need it quickly.
Yeah, so much flesh there for Horizon. Looking for maybe a few more drops than he was able to get there. But they're going to have to move eventually, and there's going to be trouble because there's a big open space between them and the team just near them. So they're going to have to put some work in soon. 9 squads remaining now. I feel like it was a minute ago we had about 15. So it has been somewhat of a massacre. Oh, that's an awkward answer. The dome is up, but I don't know if it's going to cover. And there's more action we've got. Gambit trying to stay alive. They are absolutely naked. No armor for anyone. But they're managing to do it at the moment.
Yeah, they're playing literally so well right now. Not only so consistent, James, but just the fact that they've been able to stay alive for this long. At worst, I feel like we've only seen them lose at like 9th place, but all the grenade angles. Where do you go at this point, James? You're stuck there in the cart because they know that the circle is closed off on half of it.
They're in a mousetrap. They're in the smallest box at the moment, and there's only one way for them to go. This is going to hurt so bad. This is going to be the deepest of Art Stars as well. No respect. And, oh, surely they've got to get out of here now. I cracks a broken glass, and now we got the shotguns as well. How long can they hold this position for?
Oh, and they're still getting these takes off of the Thermite. That is so much pressure. We even saw the break come in from Badoli, who is just being able to be a terror. Doesn't even have the notch gas to continue pressuring them. But look at this. They're literally just taking turns, rotating, holding shoulder to shoulder, so that way they can keep up this pressure.
Yeah, look at the shield swaps as well. These guys are laughing. That's in a very good position. And now comes the upfront close and personal fights around the caustic gas as well. And perhaps it was inevitable, but there might be a few more frags to go. The L-Star comes through as well. Insult to injury, make it even worse. Badoli's on the floor, but his teammates are here to help him. Or are they? It's getting even more brutal. Nask now, the grenade absolutely deletes too. And what is going on? Na'Vi just come through to slap him. Some huge KP from that situation, and now we got 6 squads remaining.
Yeah, you got Nash also just wiping the entire squad. Meanwhile, Gambit Esports, the one squad here that has been so consistent that we have to know getting nuts and having the priority on the high ground. This is literally the best spot you could be in right now if you are Gambit Esports.
Yeah, they are so high and so close to the ring as well. That's great cover for them, but there's still carnage. Even up this high, the altitude, we're going to start seeing some nosebleeds. They're so high. My God. Everybody's getting popped. 69 IQ, go deep, but they're down in 6th place, I believe. 5 squads remaining now as Gambit are just laughing up top. Nothing but pressure raining down on their opponents.
And look at this weapon combo that we're seeing right now from Hardeki. The flatline, the EVA 8, they know if anybody even tries to contest them, tries to climb from the low ground, you're going to get blasted in the head by that EVA 8. They're just waiting for the opportunity. They're not going to give up this ground, as they shouldn't, because this is honestly the best situation they could be in. They have every angle covered. They just have to watch out for any of these bombardments that may force them off of this high ground.
Yeah, where they are and where the ring is, it's working really, really well for them. On the opposite end, I think we've got Taishin, who might be just trying to hide in plain sight at the moment. They're going to pad forward as well and cause even more problems for them. That's a great crack into the TP. Someone goes, but we'll see if they are able to survive. Gambit just looking for all that KP now. Almost 1,400 damage on multiple players. Hardeki causing problems as well. Gambit looking to dominate lates here.
Oh, but it's only up to Joke right now from Lecite Defense, the team that just took the last game, and now Joke under a lot of pressure, forced to just phase out of there, now behind a rock. They don't clean, or rather Joke right there immediately, but that's great because now you're just increasing your survivability with all the action happening in this potential last circle.
Yeah, and Sear's got all the information now. Nemesis giving themselves a chance. 4 squads remaining, boxes all over the place. Wouldn't want to be on the low ground here. See Nemesis just chilling now. They know exactly where the teams are. Just position themselves accordingly. Hold on to their ammo as well. We can see Robins with 15 shotgun shots. So definitely want to save that for the super late game when things are really face to face.
Are we witnessing a Rat v Rat versus full squad situation? We don't even know where the 3rd remaining squad is aside from these squads that we just noted here. And this is going to be so interesting, actually, with Nodus also having that full sustainability with the 3-man squad. It's nice to note here now there's only 3 squads left here for James Weather for Game 4. This is so exciting now. Hardeki goes down. They had the best positioning, but they gave it up so that way they can contest the other squad that had the high ground. And Nemesis now being able to hold this position is going to allow them to elevate their game.
Yeah, Hardeki was just trying to chill, nothing to see here, but Na'Vi, they're on the low ground now, getting dropped on, and here come those shotguns, those crucial final shotgun shells that we were looking for, and Na'Vi will hold despite the drop, absolutely shred towards the end, and take game number 4.
I love the way they played that. They played that slow on purpose because they knew that they were forced to just drop down in that moment. And when you are just going to have to kind of have that delay when you are landing on the ground, that's just going to allow Team Na'Vi to just go fully in and have the advantage. They even have the dome out in preparation.
Yeah, they were just chilling there. They knew exactly what was coming. They didn't seem to be too nervous about a team immediately above them, and they dropped to their doom there. So that's a big pickup for Na'Vi. Again, we saw some of the teams who weren't doing so well, like 69 IQ, I think, made it to 6th place. We'll see how many kills they got, but at least placement-wise, that's something they needed to try and take some steps up the ladder to the second half of the table.
Yeah, again, I feel like we're just consistently seeing a lot of the same teams within these last few squads. We see Gambit Esports always making it to the very end here. We could see right now, Game 4 results, not as the Navi squad that we were talking about with 21 points. And look at that difference here between the first place spot and the second place spot with Nemesis. They're going to be sitting at 13 points for this game. Really like the way that we're seeing, again, a lot of the consistent teams still can have that placing within the top 5 time and time again here.
Yeah, and a 5th place for Scars. Things are improving in that respect, definitely. I saw Taishin was doing some ratting towards the end there, just alone with nowhere to hide whatsoever, just like standing in the slow, hoping that no one could see him. Maybe he had a white skin on, I don't know. But 5th place is an improvement for them, certainly. But indeed, Gambit are racking up the points there. 7 kills, 14 points total. 3rd place, not too shabby at all.
I really like the way that we also saw Nadas Vincere really pop off. Navi squad has been around for quite some time, just really good at making sure that they make it to these end circles, but we usually see at those very clutch moments, those high-stakes situations where they kind of fumble the bag, but not in this case when everything's on the table. They managed to not only take it, but we also see Max Drive with the fact that he's got not only the MVP, but 4 kills, his survival time too, and putting in the pressure, the suppressed fire, while also maintaining that patience from this squad really has allowed them to elevate their game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they can do in the final games of today here in EMEA. And I'm loving the Gibraltars as well. I'm looking to see who's the Jibzilla of the day here in EMEA. Who's getting the most kills there. Those domes could be so important in the late game, but it's about doing the damage as well. And there was certainly a lot of damage there on that team. So again, we've got two more games to come, so I want to see some more Jibby action. But here's the overall leaderboard, and we can see there Gambit up top, 10 points ahead of everybody else, and Navi storing up the leaderboard now, joint second, you could say, along with Nask with 38 points.
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure right now T-Squared, he is jumping. He is doing, honestly, the best jumping jacks to see Gambit Esports sitting in that first place spot. But for how long? When you take a look at the second and third place spot, who are tied currently with 38 points, James.
Yeah, we can see Scars, they've moved up 1 place as well. So they are in 11th from 12, 69 IQ, catching up, moving up 6 places. And again, with one good performance, you can make a hell of a lot of headway going up the table. Or Gang still in the top half as well. Again, I think everyone's a big fan of that team. So want to see more from them in the next 2 games. But yeah, Gambit still 10 points ahead of everybody else, and consistency is key.
Yeah, it's really nice to see how a lot of these squads have been consistent no matter what. Gambit constantly, even though they've won only that 1 game, they've still been able to rack up so many kills and stay in the late game. We're going to see if that consistency stays up though, James. We're going to be going to a quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we're going to be moving on to a game number 5.
Right, 4 games down, only 2 remaining, and we have seen so many competitors step it up. Hey, everybody, I'm Pyra, he's still T-Squared, and man, what an incredible game we saw last time around with Na'Vi clutching it out against Nemesis. I didn't see that one coming.
It's so fun because we've had different winners every single game so far, but Gambit has been consistent. They got that big win earlier, and then they come through with a strong second place right there. That's why they're sitting in first place. But it's anyone's game, so we still have 2 games remaining. Even teams like Scars, who you predicted, along with Sella and Vicky, have a chance sitting in 11th place with 20 points. All they got to do is win back-to-back games. It's not that hard, right?
Yeah, no pressure, right? It's going to be easy, just saving half of our all predictions. But at the same time, definitely got to give it up to you for calling Gambit so far. They have lived it out, and even when they go out in a little bit of lower place, they're picking up enough KP to really make up for that part. The fact that they won that first game certainly helps set them apart. Other squads I'm looking at, Ford Gang, they've been quietly keeping it in there in the top 10. We've been seeing No Fear time and again keep themselves in good positioning. Dead Inside as well. And also, I mean, props to Nemesis for making it all the way, like really making the most out of their Seer composition to get all of that info when you have those chaotic moments. They had the high ground. They couldn't quite execute against Na'Vi, but I mean, that's the difference in the experience, right? The experience gap of a team like Na'Vi that's been together for so long that can really make those plays and clutch it because they've been in those moments. But that was last game. Now is this game. It looks like we are getting ready to drop once again onto World's Edge for Game 5.
I'm excited to get this one underway, and you brought up a good point. The teams that have been sticking together for a while, I really feel like just have a huge advantage coming through in the very first tournaments of the new season here in our Apex Global Series Pro League, and I really do think that's why I went with Gambit. I just had a feeling they would have a strong performance today based on the fact that they've been a team for quite some time, and I think that extra boost is what they really need to go and try to take this first place overall. But still, like we said, 2 games remaining. Still anyone's overall. I'm looking forward to seeing how the teams do that are on that right-hand side of the bracket. Are they going to give up? Most likely not. They have a serious competitive itch, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, and one of those teams that I think we're really looking to try and deliver us more is going to be this squad, Zeta Division. On this crypto, they will be able to get some early information as they had dropped onto the ever-hot fragment. Pretty much always, this is a team. We'll see if the circle ends up favoring them as they are just around the lava, the edge of West, and they actually managed to find a little bit of armor, but nothing major to start things off. And now we check in with Gambit in their normal spot, way down on Lava Siphon. But this time, the circle starts to favor those more northern teams. We talked about it a couple of times here. We were hoping to see this, and this should start to shift the calculus just a little bit. But wouldn't you know it, Gambit still managed to find the inside track, even though the next circle pulls away.
Really, the only teams that have been getting screwed over in terms of where the zone is those teams on that West Coast side, like the Lava Fissure teams. They haven't gotten any love over towards that side. Maybe in that final game they will, but this is a hard pull over towards that Geyser side, and it will continue to maybe even go past the north of the cave too. So it's going to be interesting to see which teams decide if they want to go below or above that line where that green circle is going to be.
Yeah, I actually really like this one for the likes of Scars because they are an overlook dropping team. It doesn't mean they have a lot of open ground to cover. We'll have to see how they make use of it, as they are a team that prefers to play it out on the zone. We will be watching our last winners, of course, Na'Vi, for just a sec. But wait, just a minute, because 69 IQ, they're doing some trials here.
Then they're going to be able to come up with some serious good loot throughout all this. Already with the gold armor, most likely going to pick up some more things along the way. Gold bag is sitting there, more gold armors as well. Gold helmet there. Going to be
Looted
absolutely
up.
thuming on the 69 IQ side. That is the value of going over here.
Yeah, that's, they call themselves 69 IQ, but this is definitely the big brain play going over to trials. Even if they're going to have to make a run for that zone, having a lot kitted up, a lot of armor to work with certainly helps. Now, we will be watching La Cité France as a little bit of an early firefight, bit of a skirmish here on the open ground as the bubble goes down. A little surprising, but teams just kind of bumping into each other. Sometimes that happens.
It's around that time, though, 1:30 on the game clock. That's when teams really start to filter in towards the rotations. And that's when you have to be careful that the third parties are going to come. So that first fight is always so crucial. It could really snowball a lot more fighting to take place. You're going to see just a temporarily back off until the other teams start to reset and figure out where everyone is. But Zeta Division in a solid spot. We said, who's going to go above the line? Who's going to go below the line? Well, getting inside the middle of the line, inside that cave right there, is going to be very useful.
Yeah, that's really big for Zeta Division. This is a team that just loves to play aggressive, but maybe just dialing it back a bit because they just keep getting dropped early. Now we will be watching Nasky Ollie Dell, and This is a team that certainly got pretty aggressive last time around, to great effect. Unfortunately, got third-partied by Na'Vi. And meanwhile, a bit of a fight early on. Badoli actually already going to get knocked in this one, and that's Gambit. You don't want to be 1v1ing this squad. Not with that information anyways. Drone's going to go out to try and get sight on it, but unfortunately gets shot down in the crossfire.
Nice job with that drone, flying that as far as possible so the EMP doesn't slow the teammates and you also don't take damage on that one. Also great utility in terms of laying down the grenades. Will it be enough to get Badoli back up there? You can see he hasn't been thirsted quite yet. Still, now that's going to be the first player getting eliminated. Was that Badoli though? And will Gambit continue to push the advantage that they have with the knocked player?
Yeah, we had a couple of firefights going on. You saw Zeta Division actually doing it as well behind all of the action here, as we are taking a look at Geyser, or just north of it. We'll tag back. It looks like Zeta Division, they're perfectly fine with everything right now, just retreated to the safety of the tunnel again. As I mentioned, this is a team that loves to play aggressive. They have that Loba. They usually try to abuse it as much as possible, but in some of these rounds, they've just been falling a little bit too early. You need to pick up those placement points. KP's fine, but it's only 1 per kill. And meanwhile, first place is a whopping 12 here, as we will catch on to No Fear Gaming. They're finding themselves a little bit of a firefight here on Fragment West, and Shek staying alive and getting the clutch here. And ooh, with the style finisher.
Good tracking right there. Great shots overall. Also going to be getting that reset with the armor like you were talking about, going for the finisher. Big grenade to start that fight off. Really changed the entire tide, and then just forcing the Crypto out with the great shots with the Mastiff too. You saw the flick was on point. Easy cleanup.
Yeah, that was future perfect. It looks like there was a bit of an isolated player. Didn't see what happened before that. Could have been a kidnap, but right now, 69 IQ Esports, we make our way back to this team as they find an open path ahead of them into Frag West after they cleared trials. Gold armor across the board. You love to see it for this UK squad. I'm sure James will be grinning ear to ear.
It's all, again, the trials loot like you were talking about, though, and I can't wait, again, to see what they do with it, because the gold bag is so big on Gibraltar, and you could really bait a lot of teams in that think that they have a knock, think they have an advantage. Meanwhile, they send it on you, and you're basically full shields when you get back up. 69 IQ in a really good spot overall, too. So I'm excited to see where this zone's going to pull and which teams are going to be rewarded.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a listen into 69 IQ, see how they're feeling at the moment.
Anyone, boys?
They're probably playing zone.
I think they're Epi Hill.
Yeah, they are. They're fighting Epi Hill.
3P or move in?
I can't do anything right now. You guys sleeping on my screen.
Careful, rat.
Heavy mag.
Where was? Oh, no, I'm good. I've got blue anyways.
Right here. They're getting charge rifle, Joe. We might be able
I might be able to get a shot in the back. Can I walk up to crack building, boys, together, yeah?
I mean,
not right now.
They took a zip line across.
Yeah, they're bubbling, bro. Flesh, Crypto.
They're portaling.
Well, they're porting to building, yeah?
Yeah, porting to building.
Okay.
They might fight, though, heavy.
We need to chill a second, boys. Listen.
Yeah. I'm just getting cracked building, so I can...
You might have Guild walking in behind you, remember?
I don't see anyone streamer build.
All right, nice and calm, cool, collected for 69 IQ. You know, it's almost like they don't say a whole lot more than they need to.
Yeah, that was pretty chill, honestly. They're just, I feel like they're playing with their feet up or something like that. It was like, hey, flesh over here. I started yelling, but hey,
I mean, they can. This is a controller squad. That's the one edge. You can't kick your feet up if you want.
That's very true. But I like that because it's either one of two ways, right? Your communication either is very fast paced and very hectic, and everybody has to be on that page, or everybody has to be totally cool with the calm, cool, and collected way. One of the advantages of that is you get to use your sound cues a lot more in the actual game because you're just paying attention, and it's very, very crucial to make sure that you get those comms, clear those comms so you can go and figure out where those footsteps are coming from.
Footsteps, Gambit certainly going to be tracking on that right now. As you can see them just out on Geyser here. Going to get interrupted for just a second. Hardeki will be able to shield sell himself back up. Only on the blue armor. Gambit not in the best loot that we've seen them throughout the day here. Not too bad, but you certainly have seen them in a much better hold-up spot, usually when the circle favors them. This time they've kind of had to make tracks here, and that's why we find them at Geyser.
Yeah, and aware that the EMP is going off, so literally not even worried about going and healing the armor there. And I like that play. I think that's extremely smart. Still has plenty of cells, but that could have just cost him a lot more. I mean, you have 9, you're just continuing getting EMP'd over and over again. That has to be frustrating. I like that play. You even may see people just drop their armor at any given point in time. If Gambit starts running out of cells, that would be probably something that they'll heavily consider doing.
Yeah, it's another thing that, you know, these experienced, these smart squads, they've been in these situations before. There really is no substitute for the experience. But meanwhile, we'll track Le Cité France, who are playing a little bit closer inside the zone right now, trying to make their way through the pass. Once again into Geyser. I mean, this is definitely going to be the hot spot, it seems, Tom. Still 20 squads up.
Yeah, everyone's been playing extremely disciplined throughout all of this. I don't know which zone this one's going to be. And at this point, it's definitely looking like a Geyser zone. When you look at the teams that have been playing consistently, you have 2 teams in the top 3 right now coexisting across from each other. You have Nasky, Dell, and Badoli, Gambit on the other side. 2 teams looking to take first place.
Yeah, Nasky, they've definitely had some real big step-ups as well today. We've seen some really big highlight plays from them, but unfortunately that last time around they got caught in the RV and ended up getting third-partied out by Navi in the end. And let's see if they can take it to Gambit here, who have just been so consistent. I mean, even when they get out early, this is a team that always picks up some KP. They will always take a few teams down with them. Meanwhile, we tag our way back up to Frag East, and we find Forgang actually on the high ground. It's been a little bit of a quieter series of games over on Fragment. Usually it's one of the hottest places to drop, but Circle has not really favored it as much today. This time around, a little bit better, but Forgang are still going to have to move out and find a better spot of real estate.
This is where we start to get into the interesting spots of the game. The teams that were playing the edge are going to start meeting up here and start filtering in towards the top of each other. And it's going to be impossible for fights not to break out. We've had a slow one so far, but just like the previous games, it's that calm before the storm, going into zone 3, going into zone 4, before things start to get really, really crazy over here. Again, it's just a matter of waiting to find out exactly where this zone is going to be. So once those teams get the next scan onto round 3, expect big plays to happen.
Certainly, but it looks like we're already going to get a couple early on. 69 IQ at Smeggy Toe is going to be able to find a little bit here. Not actually getting a whole lot of armor on that hit, and he in fact took a couple of ticks himself. Meanwhile, this team, they're just running a gun and dodging left, right, and center. There we go. A couple of hits, and he knows they've only got the blue at this point, so they should have the advantage after being kitted up, and Slayer's going to be around the side looking for the opening, but the Thermite comes out, and that forces him away back into the shield cell.
It's good, though, because in these skirmishes, having the gold armor is going to be extremely useful. They even are able to put down some shots, possibly dropping one of the players just barely living with the life.
Man, that is so close right here. Young Money Guild blessing their lucky stars that they were able to get out of that one. Certainly did not want to stay in the hot spot, but unfortunately, they drop way too hot and get absolutely demolished by Guild.
Nice job right there. Forgang locking things down. This is what we were waiting for. The action is finally taking place, but Guild is a team that you do not want to mess with. They're locking things down inside of this trailer, which is a possible ending here. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. Again, we've predicted if it's going to go over towards Geyser or will it go over towards this no-name area. Guild in one of those classic ending spots over here, hoping that it continues to pull.
Yeah. Got a whole lot of loot to work with for themselves right now, and especially because they won't be able to step out quite so easily. This is not a Lobus squad. This is not a Caustic squad, so this is purely opportunistic right there. But the way the circle is pulling doesn't look too shabby at the moment. It's going to be very much on open ground here, Tom. So all those Geyser teams are going to have to rotate either through the choke point or around the long way, and it is going to get hectic. 18 squads remaining. I don't think we're going to see that for much longer.
Not at all. Again, the calm before the storm. It is about to be a hurricane over here in World's Edge. This choke is something that Le Cité de France has been holding on to for quite some time. Why? We saw how many teams are rotating from that north-hand side of the map, trying to make their way over here. And this is one of those spots where if you are here, it may be too difficult to go and hold. So Le Cité de France says, hey, we're going to go and get out of here. Let's go reposition ourselves. And I like that play. There's going to be a lot of teams filtering over there. We're going to get third-partied. Big play.
Yeah. You can always try to go for the gatekeep, but I think Le Cité de France just have such a great game sense to realize, you know what, this isn't going to be the easiest. We've already had one win. We want to try and stack up as much as we can right now to try and take the lobby. Reply Totem, we're going to be dropping down as well. So a lot of Valkyrie repositions, really just showcasing how much value that legend has. But listening to France, they are a little bit hot right now. You can see their Valkyrie already down to just a couple of hit points at the moment. Lagger is going to try and hold on for the team, but unfortunately, he gets dropped bleeding out. It's going to be all on Joker right now. See if he can stay alive for his team. Just portals through, and it is absolute chaos. Just trying to stay in stasis as he hides behind his teammate. And let's see that France, they do not want to go out here in the 17th position at the moment, but just trying to recover, taking a lot of damage, gonna get cracked, and it looks like Joker just barely hanging on to life here, Tom, and he's gonna be 1v, well, however many squads are in this area.
This is getting crazy. I mean, you do have the res beacon there, but are you going to be able to pull it off? There's a whole nother squad coming to loot those boxes. You have to portal. I just don't know if it's possible. That building ends up being an absolute death trap. If you were waiting for fighting in game number 5,
oh my goodness,
well, you got it now. All the teams are going back and forth. 4 squads eliminated just in this zone.
In go Catboys, and down drop some of the members of Guild. I think that might have been the full elimination. We also saw Ford Gang lighting up that kill feed for the time being, but we'll check it where it's a little bit quieter because No Fear Gaming, they have the information. Streamy on the Crypto is going to be scouting everything out. Now Andy Jax has definitely had some serious clutch plays today on this Gibby. We'll see if he can keep it going now as the Mastiff has the charge rifle.
Andy Jax is playing a phenomenal Gibraltar overall, but that zone pull goes above Geyser, so teams like Nasky, Dell, and Badoli, teams like Gambit, they're going to have to fight their way on over towards this side. Na'Vi, meanwhile, looking pretty inside of their building and predicting this correct zone, but that building next to them is just stacked. 2 teams on top of one another. Speaking of Nasky, Ollie, and Dell, let's see what they have in store for us on the rotation.
Got to be careful that Arcstar getting a little dangerously close. Nasky, Ollie, and Dell going to make their way in, and there is going to be the gas down and into the zone. It just keeps going right now. Got to get into that one. Nasky's already going to get dropped in this, and now Dell very low, but Badoli holding out on this Caustic. Can he stay alive? Yes, he can, but for how much longer? He's got so little flesh and unfortunately gets knocked. It's going to be all on Dell, trying to heal up. Shield battery goes through, syringes, and oh my goodness, the last man standing going to have to grab those banners, but Nasky just fighting their way into the zone.
It's crazy that we still have 15 squads remaining throughout all of this. Nice job staying alive just behind that small rock there, but here is the building that gets absolutely crazy. You can see one team down below. That's where all that loot was. No Fear Gaming, they're staying inside, and tons of teams on the outskirts here.
Everybody filtering in, everybody wants to come to the house party, but there are a limited number of infights. You see, it's going to be Zeta Division still alive in this one. Their defensive positioning worked out a lot better this game, but still plenty of placements to go. 15 squads remaining, as you called it, Tom. 37, make that 36 players, as Joker is going to get dropped. Now down to 14 here. No Fear Gaming, we're looking at this squad really stepping it up after the qualifiers. Andy Jax, unfortunately, getting cracked. Gonna have to try and heal up, but it is a hectic firefight minute right now. As Shex is under fire as well, they have to back away with the rest of the teams just coming through, sliding, gliding around the bubble. Not quite dropped just yet. This is tense, but they're hanging in there. They're staying alive.
Good job of using the utility there from Andy. The bubble comes through, and they use that to their advantage as well. It was a little scary for No Fear. They bubbled down, try to get inside with the grenade. Andy realizes that he needs to back off every single time they baited and switched, though. They were losing the damage battle, so they retreated back in the building. Fortunately for No Fear, they are going to stay alive temporarily. They will have to eventually move here. We'll find out which teams are going to be in the buildings that are safe in the zone right now. One team that's not all planned, you can see them making the way over towards the bottom side. Loba Q coming through as well. There is a little bit of safe haven on that rock on the platform in front of them. We'll see if they elect to go there.
Yeah, definitely. If they get to a good position, that Loba will certainly help them. Of course, they're not the only team rocking it. Taskmaster has not changed off this legend today. Let's see if they can make this one happen. No Fear healed up, trying to dodge back into the safety of the bubble. This is a team that just every single time you think they are in trouble, they turn it right around on the other side. And then a little bit more armor, looking for that crack. Can't quite find it on I Just Pew Pew, though. It looks like Zeta Division, we're going to be able to find that on the outside as the kill feed starts lighting up. 80 Jax, nearly getting cracked. Not quite. Shex, though, staying healthy, but Streamy, you can't really say that much as the EMP comes out. Unfortunately, having to use that one on himself, it looks like. And now they're going to get 1-2 knocked. It's down to Streamy. Can No Fear stay in this one? He's just flesh, and no, they'll go out in 12th place.
Zeta playing the low ground right here. Again, another team coexisting over here. Great shots right there through the window or through the crack. It's going to be Sunset getting that one. Meanwhile, Nemesis, they're fighting some kill points along the other side as well. This Dorito building is seeing some serious action over here. 3 teams now coexisting after 3 just died here.
Oh yeah, it's crunchy as all hell right now. Nemesis and everybody just mixing it up, and everyone starts dropping. You see Zeta are going to get out of this one. So much damage dealt. Looked like the charge rifle coming in. And now we are down to 9, but the action certainly is not going to stop. Watching Scars EU, they recognize this is the moment right now. The hunt down on the Peacekeeper, and he's going to be able to find the finish on Robin. Well played by Scars, the returning champs of EMEA. They need to take a lobby. They need to take a win if they want any chance of ending this one on a top finish. Woo! Into the RV we go. Big Thermite here. Now it's 69 IQ. All that kit from Trials coming in handy, giving themselves the edge, and they will absolutely demolish the squad inside.
Serious damage from those grenades and serious amount of death boxes. I feel like if we again talked about the heat maps, well, guess where everybody's boxes are? They're just on top of each other. Look at that, all outside the truck, a bunch inside. Guess what? There's about to be more.
Yeah, Licite France looking for a push on inside this one. 69 IQ Esports, they've just got armor to work with. They can hide under all of those death boxes if they want. The EMP comes through. Ganji does get cracked here, but he's staying alive for the time being. Meanwhile, Slayer's gonna attack his way in. Unfortunately, he gets cracked almost immediately down. So low on the hit points right now, it's gonna be on Ganji to try and save it, as well as Smegito. Let's see if they can hold out just on the edge of even this next circle, and it is a firefight back and forth as everybody breaks their way in. Down to 6 squads. Licite France are going to fall. And it's just everyone filtering into this RV.
How are there no armor swaps when there's 30 death boxes inside over here? Absolutely insane.
There's no time.
So much action over here. I know, no time at all. One team that's looking good is Scars, though. The prediction that you, Vicky, and Stella had, like you said, they need the dub. They also need another big game 6 if they want to try to get on that first place spot and take over where Gambit is sitting. And this could be their game. Yes, they don't have a lot of kill points right now, but the way that they're moving on around, the way that RPR came through with those PK shots and the fast armor swap. Speaking of armor swaps, they have 4 on the opposite side of the fence. I think they're going to be in good position.
Yeah, they've got a whole gallery to choose from right now, and really good positioning as the circle's going to close in. Not a whole lot of buildings left available as it starts shrinking down. So with 5 squads left, 12 players, definitely a couple, maybe twofers or even a couple of rats. We'll have to see, but Scars are a full 3 squad. Would like to swap up on that armor when they get the opportunity, but maybe they won't need to right now. You can see RPR just trying to track as much as he can. That Wingman going to be coming in handy here, holding on to that Valkyl, but of course there's not a whole lot you can do with it when there's really nowhere else to position to. I guess just death from above. Meanwhile, trying to find some shots inside that house. The corner's still available.
Solid arc stars coming through. I like the positioning right here. Also, Scars is focusing on where their biggest threat is. That is huge in Apex, making sure that they understand what plan B is, if they have plan A fall through, where they're going to go, what they're going to focus on. Scars is completely ready for this team to come outside of the Dorito building. It's going to be tough. Anyone trying to make their way out there is going to have to use a portal.
Yeah, it's going to be Phoenix Legacy. Actually, Bear going to be the one who takes the portal back and forth here onto the opposite side of the zone, tries to find something there, but nothing doing. Meanwhile, Scars are going to back up and away again. Just really great positioning. Absolutely, as you mentioned, really good focus on where the threats are coming from, where the repositions could be, and they're just tracking, using the most they can out of that little natural bit of ground here. Meanwhile, it's going to be Gambit, just Hardeki trying to hold on, and oh, he clutches against Na'Vi here. Hardeki, the last man standing. That's certainly the one you want if you're talking about Gambit.
Such huge plays from Hardeki there, getting those extra kill points, but also the extra placement points there. Will he be able to rat it out for even longer? No, it's going to be Mr. Arthur taking him down with the L-Star, but either way, nice job. Meanwhile, Scars, they're trying to end this game with a dub, a 3-on-3-on-3 situation over here. Big fight if they could go and win this one. Nice shots coming in from RPR, but man, he's taking so much damage, he's going to have to reset.
Yeah, looking for this one. Can't quite finish out the Valk. It was a lot easier to get the Gibby there with the bigger hitbox. It's gonna be very close. They do get the crack. That's a lot of flesh damage here. Mande, he's gonna get knocked though. Unfortunately, it's gonna be down to Taishin and RPR, but they are on the tracking out in the open. Very chaotic, but just down to these 2 squads looking for the finisher. Scars, they know this is theirs to lose, but it's gonna be on RPR. And no, he can't quite. No, he can! At the last second, he clutches that one out, and he had almost no hit points left.
RPR with the massive wingman shots. He came through with the 45-45 headshot after that to go and drop the first player. Ends it in style, acts like he's running away, fakes back, massive versus wingman. The quick flick wins the game.
Wow, I even got you baited for just a second there. That was incredible. And Scars, they knew they needed to put a first place on the board, and this time they delivered. The zone definitely favored him a little bit more this time. I will admit that, Tom, but They took advantage of it. They found some safe rotations, and when it mattered, they used their incredible game sense to pick off the squads and force that final 3v3.
And that wasn't an easy zone to predict. That could have easily went down over towards the Geyser side. One thing's for sure, Scars is back in this one. Yes, they're not in first after that game. It's still going to be Gambit, but a big 19-point game. That's going to give them, I believe, around 39 points overall. That should at least put them in the top 5, definitely inside the top 10. Looking forward to seeing how this final game goes.
Yeah, but big ups to Phoenix Legacy for hanging it out again. Another one of our qualifier squads showing up big. 69 Sports really riding a lot that they got early on, running over from trials and grabbing all that gold armor, making it work for them. Gambit out and forth. We saw them dropping 7th, 8th in other games this time after they won that first one, but coming right back into this for 5 extra placement points. And really just incredible play. I love a good open circle ending. It just means you get so much chaos. And boy, did we get it.
So much chaos. Also, big props to Hardeki with the extra placement points and getting that extra kill rate there is Na'Vi. They're going to go and take 5th place. That was our winner from the previous game. It's been unpredictable here, to say the least, in the EMEA region. You wouldn't really have it any other way. 5 different games, 5 different winners.
Yeah, every single time. Now, I wonder if anyone is going to be able to do a second. I feel like I might know where this one is going, but Tom, if you had to predict who's going to get like the second victory to close us out in Game 6, who is it?
I think that it has to be Gambit because they're sitting in first place. Also, they had a first place with a second place overall, so technically they are the team to get closest so far. They've also had some pretty big performances. I think Scars is heating up, though. I mean, you saw RPR's shotgun. The Peacekeeper was looking good. The Wingman was looking good. Even 8 shots were on point. The movements there, it seems like Scars is like woken up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm curious what Stella thinks, so we're going to bring her back in right now to talk a little bit more about that last game.
Hi! Oh my god, I was watching that and you guys couldn't see me, but I was literally like this for the last part. I was like, oh my god, please. Like, it could have been anyone's game, and Scars just came in. RPR, I watch his streams all the time, so seeing that his Wingman plays have finally come back in, oh my god, I'm so happy. The Wingman, when it hits, it hits. So, absolutely happy with that finish. I really want to point out, so with Hardeki killing 2 extra members, that really helps because in EMEA lobbies, kill points mean everything, especially since you don't know when you're going to be taken out. You don't know when you're going to take a fight because you end up taking fights so early as opposed to North America matches. So we're going to take a look at the video highlights for matches 4 and 5. And I don't know, Tom, we have such high octane matches. How do you feel about all these plays that we've been seeing today?
Just unpredictable, really. And it's been so exciting with the meta that we have. Again, no Bloodhounds in this lobby, so everybody really playing something different. We're seeing so many varieties in compositions. You have this composition right here with the Valkyrie Wraith and Gibraltar. Gibraltar's, I think, 100% pick rate at this point, too. Again, bubble fights are so crucial. RPR's shotgun was so crucial, too. It's been exciting to watch them kind of warm up and heat up.
Yeah, definitely this seems to be the meta for a lot of the European teams, but you see so many more in terms of, like Nemesis on that Seer as well. I really like to see some of the Caustic teams coming up. Take a look at game number 5 right here. Is Lecite France really showing up big time early on, but unfortunately after that hot drop, it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do? We just have to sit in that bubble and hope for the best for the time being. It's a bit of a double-edged sword when you get these open zones on a Valkyrie. You're trying to drop down and, well, sometimes you get shot out of the sky.
Yeah, I was going to point out this zone was also not super friendly to a lot of the teams there. This no-name area just outside of Fragment is so hard to defend. Either you're the first one into one of those buildings or you're just out and you have to make a mad dash for your life for one of those buildings or play underneath. And that's not always friendly to you either.
Yeah, I mean, you could see there in a bit of a masterclass how Nasky was able to pull that one off. And then, of course, we check inside that RV and that was just, you could not get the blood off the walls in that vehicle. That was insane.
Oh my god, there were so many boxes in there.
So many boxes that you couldn't even get out of the vehicle. That's the problem. Nothing's worse than when you're trying to go through a door and there's just death boxes on top of that, and you're just like, all right, does it look like I've played this game before or what?
Just set up outside, put a black market down, and like hope for the best at that point.
Yeah, I also want to point out that Gibraltar is really strong today, like just showing off why he's so important for teams to have. Being able to provide emergency cover, tank damage, and also do damage so that you can build your team's shields, and just get a faster res. Just so much about Gibraltar is so needed right now, especially with teams hiding out.
Definitely. I think that Gibraltar is a 100% pick. The bubbles for these open zones are crucial. The fast res. I mean, he's been nerfed slightly throughout overtime, but still has some of the strongest kits that you could ask for with the shield. It's hard to lose a 1v1 when you're dealing with that shield too. As you take a look at the overall leaderboard, it is still Gambit in first place, but other teams are starting to catch up.
Scars in 39.6 plays. It's happening, Stella.
I know, my boys
they
in
need to
6th
take
place.
another lobby. They need to do it right now. You called it, Tom. They needed to pretty much do 2 in a row. But look at this. Look at CIS representing today with Gambit and Navi up on the top of the leaderboard. And, you know, if Navi had actually managed the 2v1 in that one, it wouldn't have been flipped, but it certainly would have been a little bit closer right now. But there's still a mad dash in there in the top 10.
It is really big. It's important to point that out because Hardeki was coming up and finishing Na'Vi right from behind. So that extra points could have went on over towards Na'Vi, and then those extra points could have been taken away from Gambit. So that is a huge swing in Game 5.
Yeah, this
5
is
places up for Scars.
I know. That's such a great jump, and I think that they're officially warmed up. They're ready to go. And I also want to point out that Guild Esports has also been very consistent. I've been very pleasantly surprised with their performance today.
Yeah, Guild have looked really good. I mean, it's not just Matafi either. Like, this is a squad that they've come together. They've played really, really well. It was so nice to see them actually getting signed by Guild just before we really started all of the action. And they were just so ecstatic about, hey, yeah, we finally got picked up. You know, no longer orgless and hungry, if you will. And they're showing why they deserved it.
Well, we're always hungry for Apex, though, aren't we? I mean, come on, let's be real. It's such a
That's
good
true.
esports. Yeah, so many teams came out, and oh my goodness, just the amount of high octane action we are getting. I keep saying that, even though we're not seeing as many octanes, but you know, it's fine.
You got to bring it in a little bit. Maybe we'll see more in NA later on.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
You're mad there's no fuses, Stella. Let's be honest.
We got one yesterday. The Fuse Horizon yesterday was so sick, and I really wanted to see it again. I'm mad too. That was such a sweet combo.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a hard Fuse main and Octane main, but honestly, Fuse is just so fun. But you know what else is fun? Some sponsored reads from our lovely sponsors. You can enter Lenovo Legion's ALGS Pro League giveaway for a chance to win a free Lenovo Legion gaming PC. You can visit twitter.com/Lenovo Legion. And also, Prime Gaming is going even bigger with Apex Legends. Right now, Prime members can grab the exclusive Electric Royalty Bundle with an epic Watson skin and a shocking new look for the Volt SMG. Head on over to gaming.amazon.com/Apex Legends for more detail, and make sure you check back each month to claim the latest for your Legends. Woo, that is a long HTML. Anyways. Woo.
Sometimes
so,
that skin, that skin was fresh. Watson out here looking like Prince.
Yeah, also the Volt SMG is really growing on me. I'm a hard R99 fan, but that Volt skin is really clean.
It's all about, pay to win, Stella. You gotta, if you don't have the good skins and the good gaming chair, you're not gonna do well.
I mean, even if you do, is it really worth it, right? Like, who wants to win and not be styling?
Exactly.
Yeah, right? See, I'm just waiting for my heirloom drop. I got one, but I want to get another one, so I'm just waiting. I don't know. I really
Sounds like
want...
she's being greedy, y'all. I don't even have one yet. No, I'm just jealous.
I was about to say, Tom, you don't have one yet? Wait a minute.
Yeah, you're just jealous. I have one and you don't.
I'm extremely jealous, honestly.
I mean, I don't have an heirloom, but I'm pretty sure it's because the game is punishing me because I'm a Mirage main. So, it's telling me that I'm a bad person, and that's why it won't give me.
No.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, it's fair.
We'll move on from that. Okay, so let's take a look at what you and the community have to say about these last few games. Ashley Kemp 757 says play Apex Esports ALGS is absolutely insane. Loving it to the max. You just gotta love how Hardeki plays. Absolutely. Hardeki just showed why.
Love the Hardeki shout out.
Yes. Oh my god, amazing. Duckman2 the Stars said, watching the hashtag ALGS having some pretty intense gameplay. I can hardly keep up and I'm just watching. Yeah, how do you guys feel shoutcasting all these intense matches?
I mean, I've had to toss everything else out of my brain. We're going a million miles per hour. Like, high octane is correct. And yes, we got the puppers.
Yes, Kronos KJB with how to make my girl and the puppers happy, watching day 2 of ALGS. Of course, let's go at Scars. Yes, the puppies.
I was wondering when we were going to get the puppers. For sure.
Looking at a pork chop or something like that. The Mirage cooked up. You see the long tongue
that's really
flicking
good.
the nose. Yeah, this is cute.
Yeah, well, keep sending us these amazing tweets at Apex Esports at Twitter. But we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we have James and the lovely Vicky back on the casters panel to guide you through the last game 6. You don't want to miss this, so stay right here.
I'm going down.
Jump in, jump in.
All of keep coming, all of keep coming.
Finish this. Get up close to here and heal. I'm covering. Great shit on, great 1 HP, dead, nice.
40-54 in this guy. Shoot that guy.
Go.
You guys got that.
1 HP. Got him.
1 HP.
Got him! Let's go, baby!
Let's go.
Whoa!
Dude, oh my god. My HUD stopped working.
I'm the best wingman player in the whole fuck.
It's been an entire day of amazing EMEA here for day 2 of the ALGS Pro League. Now it comes down to the final game, James. We're moving on to game number 6.
Indeed we are. I saw that Scars moved up the table by 5 places, so things are starting to look like we were expecting now with the teams at the top of the leaderboard. Definitely still got some catching up to do, though, to get to the dizzying heights of the likes of Gambit, who still lead, I believe, by 11 points. But it's all to play for in this final game of the day here in EMEA, and we'll see if Scars can do any more.
They're gonna need it. This is gonna be the last chance right now to really put their name on the board. Love to see the consistency that we've seen so far from Gambit Esports, who are now sitting in first place with 56 points. And it's really interesting to see how that's gonna trickle down to how a lot of these squads are gonna be playing with their specific playstyle in this last game, because now some of these squads know how many points that they need to obtain to secure that high spot in the leaderboards.
The west side of the map has been somewhat neglected by these rings, so we'll see if things will improve here for the poor teams who've had to go for those longer rotations. Maybe they'll be in for some more luck on this occasion. You can see No Fear of Gaming again. The Italians looking to do some more work. They dropped off a bit in the recent games, I feel like, but I will be true to my word and meet Panettone if they're able to win a game today. We've got 69 IQ in the... looking to get the gold shields up once again. They had some disgusting moments in that previous game. All the grenade spam into those trucks and some very nice KP.
Yeah, this squad, honestly, with the way that they have been playing since the pre-quals, they have won like 3 games in a row, very consistent, but they really like landing here in trials, and it's because they get guaranteed good loot. But I'm always a little scared and wary here, because you also have to note the squads that are currently at Skyhook, looking like actually that it may be 2 separate squads, as we also see other squads rotating from Survey. And it's interesting to note where the circle is going to be pulled towards Landslide, James, and noting that that's going to mean a lot of these other squads that are mostly on the eastern side of the map going to be having to forcibly fight through that choke point by Landslide.
Yeah, I always feel nervous in Landslide, like I need to get out there as soon as possible. Still so exposed, but indeed this will be more favourable to the people in the west side of the map as opposed to what we've seen earlier on. So we'll see if that will make a big difference here. Smeggy just finishing off the job here in Trials alone. All purple armor, another good start for them, and they'll get some upgrades if they want them as well. Thinking about the double heals there with the gold armor, and one will be collected at the very least. So we'll see what they choose to rotate to now as they look to make some inroads elsewhere.
Just getting started with the action too, you have to know again that this is the final game, so a lot of these teams know what they have to do differently to secure a better position in the leaderboards. And it's almost like, Fig Fam, they've heard me. Not only do they have the caustic out, James, they are securing themselves in this truck, and they're going to ensure that they could try to pressure out some of these squads that have been able to rotate in this direction. But they do know there is another squad that is over at that building. There doesn't seem to be a beacon there like sometimes there usually is. So nothing that Fig Fam they can really worry about, but they do have to worry about a squad that's currently landing on top of them. So that notes 2 squads that are in the area.
Yeah, they saw one player in isolation, and indeed, we've got a downed player outside who won't last very long, and sometimes those rotations don't go well for you, and that's a very costly one. Got our first player on the server down and out now, 59 players up at present, and that may be a hard banner to recover as well.
And they do know here that they were pressured a little bit when they had landed, when you saw the loot coming out after finishing off that flare. And it looks to be that it was Nox who was actually the one that was taken out clean, as they do manage to get the banner. Dolphin takes so much pressure again, but is it worth it here after you get the banner? We're going to have to see later, as Phoenix Legacy now have been able to rotate right behind them while all that action was going down.
Yeah, that was a risky banner grab, but risks have to be taken in the last game of the day. Especially if you are on the back foot, and we got some more problems here early on. Unlucky now, trying to do what he can. He's got one of the 2 banners as he has lost another player as well. And he is on the run. Those res points are pretty far away at the moment, and he knows he's going to be running into a team as well. So tough decisions have to be made. You can see the fighting, but that respawn beacon is in no man's land. So they're going to be running solo for a while, I feel like.
It's so difficult. At least you're the Valkyrie and you could try to redeploy if you see yourself in a pretty bad situation, but we have already noted the risk that the redeploy provides, especially later on in the game, especially seeing how kill hungry that these teams are going to want to play to get those last minute points. Of course, looking at the squad that is struggling with that rat cam, we have to note G Dolphin, he was the previous coach of TSM, and he plays very similarly to that style where they prioritize the map movement. So it's very interesting to see how that kind of backfired on them, and now it's just up to that one rat that could honestly try to get them back in the game, which is going to be very risky.
Yeah, and CSM won't be too far away, as this is the last game of EMEA. So we got some very exciting groups coming up later on. But this one has been quite insane as well. And the crypto ults begin. We've really seen some griefing with multiple crypto ults in quick succession. Again, I think it was Hardeki. He was just chilling with no armor, just empty cells, basically. Just allowing those crypto spams to come through. So we'll see if that's going to be an issue in this game as well. But again, we've got Fig Fam just biding their time for now. Just chilling, 2 blues and 1 grey armor. But they'll just hold position until things escalate a bit more.
Yeah, I'm honestly not surprised how slow this is being played right now. Of course, you want to make sure you get your kills smartly. You don't want to overextend, give up your positioning like we had seen at one point when Gambit Esports gave up that high ground in that game, where I believe we had seen Le Cité de France actually take it. And in that type of situation, Gambit Esports, they recognize the position that they currently in as a team. And not only do they recognize that, they also have pretty nice Evo shields to try to get aggressive as they make this rotation, and really nice loot in general. Look at this wingman all kitted up. We actually were talking about it earlier, James, but that may have just been from the replicator, as we did see that boosted loader and that heavy mag in there earlier today.
I'm a big fan of a 2x on a wingman. I don't have the prowess of these players, though, but we did see some savage wingman shots towards the end of the last game, and I'm sure it will come in clutch in this game as well. Very reliable damage. So Gambit just moving slowly and scouting, getting the lay of the lands, trying to figure out what other teams nearby will be trying to do. They consider their options. We've got a bit of a replay here, so... Oh, no, no!
Wait, what?
Oh, that is
he's passing
awkward.
He's passing it to Hardeki, but what would happen in a point if he were to drop that Evo shield? He's essentially just, you know, paying that fast service just to make sure, just to make sure that delivery gets there as quickly as possible. I mean, that's definitely one way to turn up the tactics.
Yeah, you've got to be confident. I respect it. You have to be confident to do things like that. A shield taxi in the middle of the last game of the day. It's a brave decision. I just like, part of me needs to see like a low, but I'll just take that when it's halfway through, you know, but
that's what I was scared about too, because you have to imagine if these teams rotate in that direction, since it's kind of in that center part of the map where some teams from Lava City or Dome rotate through Lava Siphon, what would you do in that situation where somebody shoots you and you don't have an Evo shield? That'd be so unfortunate. But you know what? That didn't happen. We're still in this. I mean, we're currently gonna see some of these squads already make that rotation over to the eastern part of the map. Look how many squads are already so close to countdown, and Landslide has been contested by 3 different squads.
Yeah, it's pretty much 4 if you look at the team in the red as well. There's going to be a lot of fighting to do there, as those are some very tight rotation choke points, and there's potentially a team coming through the rear from Harvester later on as well. So there's going to certainly be a massacre around Landslide later on, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. So I think we may have seen some respawns here, because we've got 59 players up, and I'm pretty sure that one team had 2 players down earlier, so I think there has been some kind of a rescue. So that's pretty good, as people are, for the most part, just chilling now, just slowly edging forward closer and closer to that ring.
Yeah, that'd be super clean for Team Clean if they manage to get those 2 reses. That'd be super important. But we're talking about some struggle here. Nemesis, they got some med kits. They're working with what they got. And looking at Clone having to pop the Phoenix kit, I'm wondering here, how many meds do they actually have? I mean, the circle is right there. They're just opting to have a safer positioning after noting where maybe some of the fighting has gone down. Again, like you mentioned, there's still 20 squads still left in this lobby. Second circle just ticking down, waiting for that to close it eventually. And they do know where some of these squads are rotating as they want to go long. Maybe try to cut them off in a different direction.
I love to see a gold longbow. Digital sniper threat is nothing but brutality. And it's going to be interesting where these guys settle when they come out of the ring, because I'm not sure that they're going to be offered too much space. And we see some harassment coming the way of Gambit. They're pretty content for now. They've got some high ground advantage, but they will have to use some shield cells. Nothing too crazy happening just yet, though, but the snipers are out. But definitely my eyes are on that gold longbow.
And you know, James, though, I'm wondering here, looking at Gambit and their positioning, we have to note that squad that we were just looking at rotating from out of circle with their blue Evo shields, looking like they were limited on health. They're going to appear off to that left side of Gambit Esports, and they may find themselves in a sandwiching position, since that squad off to their right is shooting at them with the charge rifle.
Yeah, charge rifle can be so painful, so frustrating, especially on the rotation. And speaking of rotations, these guys have been in the jungle for a while now. They've got to be running low on the heels, and just as they start to come to safety, they'll be spotted immediately. They've got some rocks to play with, but question is their utility, as there'll be more rotations to do. Once that ring comes in, and they'll be on the edge once again. And playing on the edge can be pretty difficult, so we'll keep an eye on that.
I love the friendly voice line too. The friendly voice line from the Gibby. You think you're gonna win against me? Well, I'm like a rock, and you know rocks don't fight back. And we currently got Guild Esports doing exactly what we are bound to see them do: is play very patiently. This is the last game. This is really where it matters. But the thing is, they're not running the caustic. They can't secure these buildings as effectively as some of the other squads that we have seen run that caustic composition.
A lack of bloodhounds today, a lack of revenants as well, which I'm sure everybody's happy about.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah,
also, just the bloodhounds too, just have been interesting to see how we shifted away from that meta in general. Because you would think maybe in that situation, what would have happened if Team Nemesis instead of the Seer had the bloodhound to note that Gambit Esports was right there?
Yeah. I guess there are different levels of like exposing your position while looking for information, and again, one of those will be a crypto. Oh, that's some big damages. We've got a bombardment as well. Very patient shots with the longbow, and see if there's anything else here for No Fear Gaming. If they can capitalize on this damage, or if they look to play it safe and simply fall back. They have got a team in here as well. That longbow continues to really pepper. So Mark starts to create some space and grenades as well. Will they push for the full commit? I'm sure the other team has to retreat from this because they've made that a very dangerous area.
That is definitely one way to force out a squad that wanted to try to flank you after hearing you try to fight. You even see at the very end there, ND Jax, despite getting those 2 knocks with the longbow, they noted immediately that there was a squad coming up on their 6, and they stopped, kind of shifted their attention in that direction, and managed to hold back that opposing squad that would have otherwise tried a third party.
Yeah, Clean are suffering at the moment with the proceedings there, having to fall away from cover, and there's more damage coming through now. No Fear, again, they did some great damage earlier, and maybe they'll be rewarded for it now. Look at the tracking from Shex, excuse me. Great damage from him. Nice aid from a teammate there, and that is some nice KP.
Oh, that was so funny too. Just being able to see the Lobo take like a side step, and then just Lobo was so low already that yeah, you're gonna bleed out to the circle, who's already doing enough damage to kind of put that pressure and force you to make these rotations, which is why I really like this position from No Fear Gaming.
Yeah, sometimes the ring's your friend, and a lot of the time it's your enemy. But they're able to stabilize now after those exchanges, and that has definitely been favorable for them. No Fear. Again, they had a good run early, had some consistent high results, and are looking to have another one here. But there are 18 squads left. There's plenty of work for these teams to do. Speaking of stabilizing, we could see Nemesis here again. They were running in the ring for such a long time, but maybe they found some comfort for a brief time. However, there are so many longbows and charge rifles around the map. One of those longbows trained on them at the moment. They are peppering 2 squads, but they have to think about how they're going to rotate. If they move forward, they are in a sandwich from either side. Longbow to the right, charge rifle to the left. They're going to have to make some tough decisions soon.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking right now, James? I'm thinking, I wonder how Robin feels with the fact that there's no Anvil receiver anymore, and he is trying to put in some pepper through the flat line onto some of these squads, but, you know, you're also contesting with the longbow, like you're saying. A lot of these squads running the longbow, the charge rifle. Are you really going to try to contest a squad that also may have the Sentinel here from this long range, when you're also forced to rotate to the circle? And Nemesis actually may opt to do just that. They got the zipline right there if they want to reposition.
20 seconds before the proceedings begin once again. They've really got to get their... well, they're not the only team who have to get moving, so they may hope that one of the teams ahead of them gives them some space to work with, but they're holding position at present, and that may make things tough. Forward they go, though. Robin leading the charge. We've got the defensive bombardment dropping as well. That could create some space for the team dropping it, but Scars could be in some trouble here. Taishin's got to be real careful about his positions as he tries to heal up.
And there's a squad right behind them. I'm not too sure if they've noted that just right now. RPR has to be aware there's also another squad on the high ground. No matter what, their left angle and their heads would be exposed if they just were to move out of this position. This is pretty tough here. Wondering if maybe they have to utilize a portal. It looks like actually that squad is not on the high ground. It's actually taking that car off to the side. So they actually could try to maybe take the high ground from them. Instead, they're just opting to hold by the corner of the circle, but it's just a matter of time before more teams rotate towards Landslide and start causing chaos for Team Scar Zero.
Mesite de France drops a nice thermite in Scars' position there, but he got completely stuck in the corner, and I think it went behind the girders, which is a boon for Scars, because they would have been in so much Fortunate for them. And again, we've got these snipers scouting, looking for damage. It was earlier on we saw there were already 4 teams here in landslide, and I don't see that situation improving in favor of the teams here already. I think they're just going to have more people heading in their direction. But as we can see, the Cat Boys are going to have to be moving eventually because that ring has moved away from them.
Gotta love that name over there too. They're repping it, pretty proud here, but you know, they're also able to rep the fact that they're holding this position as they are gonna be forced to rotate into the circle eventually. But this is some intel to know. Well, there is a Caustic squad holding into that building, but oh, look at this. Phoenix Legacy looked like they were in trouble over there. Navi is gonna be the squad to go down in this situation. And it's nice to know here with 17 squads left here, James, this is where a lot of that chaos is gonna happen, especially since the circle is already gonna be closing out in 50 seconds. It's gonna be ring 4.
Oh my god, absolutely nowhere to stand. Couldn't go in the box, getting sniped. Outside, getting wrecked as well. Meat shots from the shotguns are going to cause some real problems, and things are really starting to pick up now. 16 squads left, but for how long? We've got so many close quarters engagements, all planned, trying to pick up some KP as well. Looking for the thirst there, but that shield is really going to slow them down. Oh my god, what is happening? Look at the kill feed. Everybody's getting wrecked. Let's see the France look like they've been deleted. ZMB's down as well. 15 squads remain, and I'm wondering how many teams even have a full squad standing. Guild Esports do for the time being. As I say that, one goes down. Matterfield on his hands and knees now, but he can be rescued, I think.
Guild Esports has been here the entire time. They throw out the thermite just for some insurance in case another one of the members of that opposing squad take that portal. They'll be pressured out, and talk about the action. Look at how these teams are diving into the dome right now, losing so much health. Can Robin do it here? He's quite literally won, and they do. He comes out in the top. Now the bombardment coming out has forced Robin to back off. He can't even loot, and because he's used that void, he's gonna have to be forced to take some cover, and let's see if he's gonna have enough time to even heal up. But this action has now just all gone down with round 4 circle closing in, and we're left with 12 squads left.
The Seat de France has still got 2 players alive somehow. Spotting the caustic barrels, they know what's ahead in that direction at the very least. Is anyone brazen enough to even go for a respawn at this point? See some crypto drones flying around. There are boxes all over the place. Christmas if you're in the right position. More domes being deployed now. Lots of harassment as well, and that ring continues to close.
Santa if you're Loba too, in this situation at the very least. But you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at the Seat de France, who are not only having that Spitfire at the ready, but they're also looking at the fact that Lagger's not in this game anymore. It's just a 2-man squad at this point. And you talk about risky reses, I'm not too sure if it's going to be worth it here. Look at Young Money Guild, who are holding the side here. So no, this is that squad, the 3 jabronis, who have been together, and they're going to be able to send it forward here. The thermite coming out. Can they close this out? The last member hiding behind the knockdown shield, and they do. It's going to be Tashin's squad who goes down. Young Money Guild, they come out on top, and they manage to get the res. Oh, okay, they abandoned the res, but hopefully they get it back up soon, because the Seat de France, they're wasting no time to rotate in.
Young Money with that blood money, but indeed, Seat de France smell blood as well, and they're looking for it. Do they have enough gap? This is a round 5 ring, so I don't know that you want to go through there, but they're thinking about it. Again, this is the last game of the day for EMEA. 10 squads remaining, plenty of frags to come. That Crypto Jones just absorbing all the information. I do wonder if there'll be if there's a Loba left over as this ring gets closer, if there will be like an ammo dump of sorts to really make things harder for everyone else. C69 EQ, they had a good result in the last game, and they're looking to do at least one better in this one. They've got some position for the time being, but that ring will soon be moving once again. They'll be forced forward, trying to get some harassment there with the L-Star. Just enough wall for their opponent to work with, but here comes a bombardment as well.
Oh, it was looking so tricky too. They were trying to hug that wall, but with the bombardment, now they're just going to be herded off to the side into the line of sight of 69 IQ, and wasted no time with it, being able to get that meltdown. I mean, your shield was going to be bound to get broken so easily, of course, as you just managed to come back into the action. 69 IQ Esports, they're just doing what they do best, and it's with these high IQ plays, but can they clutch it out at this point, James? Looking like they're in some trouble here, as just Smeggy Toe is the only one that has some shields.
Yeah, Ganji really needed a shield swap there, going nuclear with the Peacekeeper, but couldn't really get an up-close kill to get the shield swap, so on the time for him to crawl. Smeggy Toe still getting the KP though, Corset causing problems. A quick jump peek as he pops the bat, trying to stay alive, but he just can't get it off in time. And now it's down to Slayers to do what he can as 7 squads remain. No fear losing plays as well. Streamy's been deleted. Arcstar's all over the shoppers. We've got Lecite de France still in this with 2 players, getting that resin. See if they can get a battery in there as well. Looking to create some space with the thermite to try and heal up in the meantime.
There's so much happening right now that I'm wondering if this squad right next to them has really been aware at the fact that they managed to get not only the res, but their portal is right there if they really need to take it and gets the break. I love the utilization over this cover. The suppressed fire 2 coming in. The Lecite de France really showing off why they were able to win that game. Their survivability has just been unmatched right now. Lyra Benu, who has been able to heal up in time, has that gold Evo in case that they need to utilize a syringe to get into a fight faster.
Yeah, Lecite de France have been in some tough fights for a while now, but they are moving up that ladder. Again, 4 squads remaining, so they're getting those points. But it's so many more points for first place. That's really what you got to be going for.
Actually crazy here. They actually managed to close out 69 IQ despite having that cover here. Meanwhile, Guild Esports, you talk about how many of these squads are actually fully left. Is there any more 3-man squads? I mean, maybe 1 or 2 at this point, because now, James, we're down to 4 squads left, and we know here that it's a 2v2, 2v3 now, as Nasky is going to be able to come out and have some cover, having a lot of control with this Caustic too.
Yeah, 4 kills for Badoli, putting some gas by the teleporter as well. That was a great lineup for him to get some really nice KP. Look at the spread of that crypto ulti. That is so much pain for all concerned. Smegito still alive. Him and Slayers now trying to stay in this one as we go down to 3 squads. And it could soon be 2 as Slayers is holding on by a thread at the moment. So maybe some thirsting here as they'll look to in the numbers, and now we're down to the final 2 squads. Gnask very quickly will make it 0, taking that last game very fast indeed. Lots of KP towards the end as well as they claim the victory.
I mean, they just essentially cleaned up shop there. We noted there wasn't a lot of squads that could really do much, having the number advantage in comparison to Naskia here, who managed to come out on top for our final game 6. And you love to see, because this is the squad that has been one of those consistent EMEA squads who have been able to maintain their position in the leaderboard. They just really didn't need it to win, and they managed to get it at the very end.
Yeah, definitely a numbers game. So many teams with just 2 players alive there, and towards the end, they just raided and finished them off immediately. So there was no chance to recover, no chance to stabilize, no chance to see the lay of the land. They were just straight in there for the beatdowns. And that's a huge pickup for them again. So many points for first place. They racked up a fair few kills as well. So I'm really interested to see what the total is. But those 12 points for first place are so key for this leaderboard.
It is, and you have to know, of course, at the very end of the circle, just providing a lot of these squads to not only get out of the buildings where they felt so comfortable in, but you saw what was going on when you're forced into that open ground, especially against a squad that had some crates to hide behind. Look at that, 21 points to close out game number 6, and taking the win on top of that. They managed to secure 9 kills.
Yeah, and we can see that Gambits are missing from this half of the results for this game, so I think the overall leaderboards are going to be very interesting to look at. We can see Lecite de France making it to 4th place. They had a tough run towards the end of that game, so I think moving that far up the ladder is pretty good for them. 69 IQ up there with a 2nd place finish. They're going to be very happy with that. Let's not forget how they started. Their first game here was so rough. Stuck between 3 teams looking for a desperation Valcult, but to make it to 2nd place there is very good in the late game for them.
Yeah, James, actually, I saw that you had honestly kept your eyes out for 69 IQ. Pretty nice there, but honestly, wondering here, what were your thoughts looking at their performance for today?
Yeah, I think they were an underdog coming into this one. I picked them as one of my favorites because I wanted to support the UK guys, and listening to their comms, you can see they're a really young team. But, you know, they were calm under pressure. Their comms are clear. There's no question with the leadership and so on. So, and I think to come back from that hardship in that first game, they honestly had a team here, and they're 3 Valcult. No matter what they did, they would have got completely deleted. But I think it's how you come back from the tough tests, and they've certainly delivered. They had some great situations where they had people stuck in trucks, spamming them with grenades and so on. So they racked up some nice frags in a bunch of games. So I think they've got to be really pleased with how things ultimately have gone for them today.
Yeah, you know who's also pretty excited now after the end of that game? Stella, and I want to hear some of her thoughts as we're going to bring her in. Stella, how are you feeling after that one?
I'm a little sad. Young Money Guild took out Scars, though, and they just hard held them out of that circle there, but it's all right. It's okay, because you know what? Nasky made that last circle look really, really easy. I mean, they just played around whatever box cover they had because let's be real, Countdown, when you get out of the bridge areas, it's really hard to find a spot to take cover in. And looking at these highlights, oh my goodness, this match was so fast. So many teams got taken out so fast. And look at these shots. Oh my goodness. Just incredible. And I want to note that I noticed that a lot of EU players prefer the flatline, which when it hits, it hits. So, Vicky, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly, I made a note of it earlier, saying that we were seeing some pressure come out from the flatline from a long distance in comparison to a lot of these players running the longbow, sentinel, and charge rifle. And it's so risky because, you know, you don't have that anvil receiver anymore to give you that damage boost where you could really feel those single shots make an impact. But despite that, having that medium range to close range weapon, especially when you hip fire it, is so powerful, especially if your shots are consistent. And we talk about playing close range, and that was a really nice shield swap at the very end there. That's the only reason why we saw Robin survive there of the bombardment. But aside from the flatlines that you made mention of, the use of the Gibby bombardment from a multiple amount of teams was impressive. You saw those longbow shots come out, clean up shop against the squad that was stuck in circle, and that was all because they were funneled out because of the Gibby bombardment that has, again, just controlled so much space for a lot of our teams. And it's really clutch moments like that where you end up circle keeping an entire squad and you rack up some points while you're putting in some pressure with the longbow.
Yeah, it's like what happened to my poor boy Scars. They got held out of that circle. But that's all right. Let's take a look at the leaderboard for groups A and D. Let's take a look at the day's scores. Now, James, is this what you expected to happen at the end of the day?
Wow, that's just daylight robbery there from Gnas to take first place over Gambit. They've been leading the entire time. They've been the ones to watch. They've been consistent, but again, they came up short in that last game. They weren't anywhere to be seen in the top half, and from the clutches of victory, Badoli and crew just coming through there, just sliding in with a 4-point lead. That is fantastic. I think some teams like No Fear, we've given them plenty of shout-outs today. Again, they've done great today. I think 69 IQ coming in 4th place there late on is outrageously good for them. That's a fantastic result. So I think Scars will be disappointed with being 8th place on the table at the moment. There are definitely some surprises here in this top half.
Yeah, they're still top 10, so, you know, it's not bad. It's day 2, so I'm holding hope it'll be fine, right?
Oh, you know, just looking at the fact that we're coming out of day 1 just yesterday, I believe the highest placing team, Invictus Gaming, had 54 points with 28 placement points and 26 kill points. And then you compare it to the action that we've seen today, and it really highlights how the competition has just been fired up. This is just the first weekend that we are able to see a lot of our EMEA talent come out, and Nasky coming through with the team, and not just the team, the 62 points to secure that first place spot. I made mention of it. This is a team that was pretty consistent. The only thing that they were really missing was that win, and just, you know, better late to the party than never, as I always say.
Absolutely. And speaking of this being a first day that we get to see the overall leaderboard for all groups, I think we have that scoreboard available now.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty happy trenches today. Had some difficult games, but he was in there putting in work, and you can see the rewards of that. Taking joint first place there with IG, so can't be too happy. I mean, he is happy with that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, can't be too disappointed.
Backwards.
Absolutely, we understand what you're trying to say.
Alliance in 20th place with 2 points. What on earth is going on there?
Oh man, yeah, I'm honestly surprised to see that, because Alliance was one of those teams that I had my eyes on originally, you know, looking at the first day, but then of course their performance unfortunately fell a little short. But I feel like with this overall leaderboard, it's kind of what we were saying earlier, with Invictus Gaming sitting in that 2nd place, we see our first place winners just for today, Nasky, Ollie, Dell, and just honestly tearing up the competition. Not only is consistency key here, but getting that dub is so important, because those 12 points go a long way if you don't find yourself securing enough kills by throughout the entirety of the 6 different games.
Absolutely. And the top teams today aren't even that far off from yesterday's team. So seeing like that, ooh, it's going to be some tough competition in the next few weeks. I'm so excited. I mean, I feel like we had so much action today. Everyone was so ready to go. And what I love about EMEA lobbies is that everyone is bloodthirsty and ready to fight off the bat. I mean, Vicky, do you like that? Do you like high-octane matches straight from the bat?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm the type of person that will drop super hot, and so that way we could try to get as many kills as possible, because you never know when that one game is going to be your 20 bomb that you could get on a different legend, am I right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of heavy hitters today, we have some players who stood out in the kill feed today. So let's talk about them in our special Monster MVP segment. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have a lot to say about players today. So we'll start with you, Vicky. Who stood out to you the most in today's games?
I'm gonna say Nasky, honestly. Just the way that they were able to play and really push forward with the team and still remain consistent despite falling short in some of the victories that they were really close to obtaining is a highlight, because then you have to keep that momentum to the very last game, and they were able to keep that forward, and they were honestly really powerful when it came to the last game and being able to understand the situation that they were at, because you have to also tally up in your head how many kills can you get to secure that first place spot, because being able to get that first place spot with just a few points in comparison to second place that was at 58 points, that's really intense, because then you know right there those few kills made all the load of difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And James, how about you?
For me, one thing that stood out to me was Hardeki. Getting Gambit up the ladder, because he was in some really tough spots. Sometimes when he was the only man alive, where he really had to, you have to take the right decisions to try and get up the leaderboard a little bit, but also try and see some KP where it makes sense as well. So I think we saw a really strong performance from Hardeki when it really counted for Gambit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hardeki was going to be my MVP as well, because, I mean, he secured those 2 extra kills when he was a rat. And I mean, what more can you do as a team player, right, at that point? And the fact that he took that fight when he was alone, I think that's extremely risky, but also very brave. And I mean, he came out on top. So yeah, absolutely MVP for me.
Great.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I think we have the kill leaderboards now to see who really stood out on top. So let's take a look at that real quick.
Man like Badoli, check him out. No, so not too much of a surprise there, man. I saw he was in the trenches. He was willing to die for his country, man. Sometimes he got pops, but he did way more popping himself there. 16 kills, top of the leaderboard.
All right, but I'm wondering here, guys, how many of those were from the caustic barrels?
Oh, God,
right
please,
here. Badoli was honestly popping up, and the few times that we were able to see Badoli's team make a lot of those smart rotations, we saw the pressure that Badoli was under, of course, when it came to having to rotate as caustic on World's Edge. Sometimes it could be tricky when you really are forced out into the open.
Yeah, also, I want to point out that in 2nd and 3rd place, they were both tied at 15 kills. And then Hardeki was right behind them. So, I mean, lots of heavy hitters here. So excited.
Shout outs to Slayers in 3rd place from 69 IQ, man. Don't forget about that IQ. It's very important.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that was our Monster MVP segment. So many people came out on their A game today, and it just makes me so excited for the rest of Pro League. I mean, just how many times are we going to see them hit every single EVA 8 shot? Which, by the way, for me, I still run the Mastiff. I still really like the Mastiff.
Hopefully you're not landing any 11s, because of course when you have the Mastiff in your hands, you hit those hot 11s, but when they have it, of course, they'll be hitting 64s all day long. But yeah, it's honestly really interesting to see how a lot of these teams came out and played, I feel like, much more aggressive in comparison to what we had witnessed just yesterday. And if that buildup doesn't really kind of draw that gap for you guys at home to see, I'm just letting you guys know right now, this is just the beginning, and we have so much more action in store for you. I'm really excited to see what these teams have to bring to play.
I gotta say, there's been a lot of, there's been space for all those shotguns in those games, especially the Mastiff, because some fights it's been like 2 bubbles, 5 people just creeping in and out of the bubbles, and you almost can't miss a Mastiff shot. So there's definitely something for everyone there as far as the shotguns are concerned.
Exactly. You can turn an 11 into a full hit. So, yes. So we had some predictions in the beginning of the broadcast where me and my castmates put in our predictions for who would come out on top. And let's take a revisit to see who was right and who was off base with their predictions. Not that it's a competition. Or is it?
Oh, you know, T-Squared got so close, and I even said it earlier when we were on break. I was like, all right, T-Squared, time for you to send me that email, send me the script, because you obviously knew something going on. But, you know, I really like the love that T-Squared gave to Gambit Esports, because he knew how consistent they have been in the EMEA region, and it's nice to see them really come out here and prove that to all of us. Being able to land that 58 points and still maintain that consistency throughout the day is really impressive with the competitors that we have seen today.
Oh, absolutely.
Shout outs to 69 IQ Esports, UK Man's Roadman Squad on deck. I'll take 2nd place all day. Rest of you guys are in the bin.
Oh, wow. Okay, those are really strong words. Listen, I stand by Scars, but I will happily be wrong about today because you know what? Gambit showed so much stellar gameplay. I was on the edge of my seat. I'm okay with taking that. That's fine. That's fine. We had some really good matches today. Day 2 is pretty much wrapped, but if you want more Apex, we have our NA Pro League Day 2 coming up, so don't worry, that's going to be in about an hour. So take a nice walk, stretch, get some water and snacks, and come back here if you want some more Apex action, because let's be real, Apex is so much fun to watch, especially in these pro lobbies. I mean, Vicky, what was your favorite moment today? Like, what was your favorite gunfight that you witnessed?
I honestly really enjoyed our listen-ins and hearing the comms coming out and making sure that they ping down some of the drones that we've seen from the crypto teams. I love the intensity of a lot of these team fights, and of course seeing the diversity within the roster that we were able to witness today in the lobbies.
Yeah, oh my God. The team listen-ins were so good, especially being able to hear how teams lead each other and how they communicate. I mean, a lot of teams, if you do communicate like that, you're often on point to win all these matches because I mean, this is a team sport overall. And James, how about you? What was something that stood out to you about these lobbies today?
So game 2, Vicky and I's first game, we had a situation where there was a building which had at least 4 teams in the building. I think there were 2 teams outside the building. We had a seer dropping a respawn beacon to res 2 people on top of the building. And all of it together, I just thought it was just so insane that it was all happening at once and all these people were coexisting in this tiny space. So I kind of enjoyed the insanity of that and watching that all unfold, as well as all those teams collapse into, you know, ultimately one team. So for our first game, I think to kick off with so much just absurd action in such a concentrated area was a fantastic way to come into Apex.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's been so much good action today. If you want to send us more tweets for us to look at, please follow Apex Legends on Twitter at PlayApexEsports, and go ahead and give Play Apex Esports on YouTube a sub and this Twitch channel here at Play Apex a follow to keep up with the action. And now, as we close out EMEA Pro League Day 2, I really want to thank these incredible teams who gave us such high action matches, our lovely sponsors, amazing crew, and talented casters, and our wonderful viewers who keep us going every broadcast. I'm Stella Chung, and you can keep up with me on social media at Parallax Stella anywhere. Vicky, where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Vicky Kitty, VIKKIKITTY. It's going to be the same as the tag, guys, but again, thank you so much for tuning in.
And James?
Yeah, for me, it's James Bardoff everywhere, or griefing Vicky with caustic references on all our broadcasts. We'll see you later on today.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning into EMEA Pro League Day 2. We'll see you on the NA Pro League Day 2 in just about an hour, but if not, we'll see you here again next weekend. Have a lovely day.
Spotted one.